Welcome to the February 20th, 2018 Mayor and Council meeting of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Please notify the Municipal Clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at Mayor and Council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all your cell phones. Could everybody please stand for a salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So would you read the roll call?
Councilman Bruno.
Here.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Cumming.
Here.
Councilman Ullman.
Here.
Council President DeSena.
Here. Approval of, can I get approval of the minutes for February 5th, 2018?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Bruno.
Yes.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. If anybody would like to come up and address the council, I ask for a 5-minute time limit on that.
Make a motion, Mike.
Make a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno.
Yes.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. If you could step up, tell us your name and your address for the record.
Good evening, my name is George LaHood, 293 Murray Hill Terrace, Bergenfield, New Jersey, 07621. I am here in regard to those 2 resolutions, Resolution 18-161 and Resolution 18-166. I wish to present an objection to the processing of these resolutions on the basis that they are illegal and...
Can you,
are
Mr. LaHood, could you please sit down and speak into the microphone so they can get you on audio? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I object onto these 2 resolutions, 18-161 and 18-166, in regard to 741 Wayne Place, Block 2208, Lot 3. In that, we have been working very hard to take care of the property and proceed with the foreclosure. We have endured hardships in the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey, which I honestly believe has resulted in removal of Judge Doyne from office. He was the assignment judge handling the administration in the county of Bergen.
Mr. LaHood, could you hold on? Are you going to both speak?
Yeah, I'm Ms. Biller's assistant, Francine Oprahori, 15 Windsor Gate, Upper Saddle River, New Jersey, 07458.
She is here on consultation on certain issues with which she knows.
I help assist with some things he forgets.
Yes. I believe the resolutions are submitted to the bar quite early, since we are in process of foreclosing on the property. But due to certain legal difficulties, we just could not bring it to fruition early enough. Now, luckily, due to the new election, we have a new Attorney General in the state of New Jersey. Gurbir Gual was the Bergen County prosecutor, and he's familiar, I honestly believe, with the difficulties that I'm facing in Bergen County. Not only from Washington Township foreclosure, but also in other municipalities with which I need to let you know the extreme situation. Once I was in foreclosure on 4 other properties. I need my 5 minutes. And a value of $130,000 was taken away and not put in the certificates as for One World House of Worship. They put them in another person and they withdrew the money. So I'm also on the short end of the stick of finances that I need to proceed with a nonprofit business. It's being nonprofit, I appreciate you put off these two resolutions until we are ready to discuss the details and for me to be able to understand which resolution covers what tax certificate, which are not clarified in here, nor was I advised that the council is going to take action on them today. So I plead with you and I hope you will be satisfied with our taking care of this property. Second, I think I need to ask whether we are permitting One World House of Worship to consider this property for moderate low-income housing, because I think we want to help the municipality with some credit with the co-op people. I think we could assist you, and also we are a volunteer organization and we want to do a lot of work. I myself go sometimes to take courses on first aid, so is my assistant. So I think we're going to be a blessing to your town, and I do appreciate your cooperation with us.
And I just would like to summarize a little, that Resolution 18160 and 18166,
161.
161 and 166, please, as we're consulting with the new administrator, if we could just postpone these two resolutions from tonight's vote so we can discuss it at a later time. It's called tabling, I think it was mentioned. If we could table it, because there's more clarification. And this procedure, I've been doing tax lien certificates for the last 12 years, and this procedure is not, I haven't seen it yet in my workings here. So we just need to table this and see what your purpose is for doing this, because that's all. We discuss it at a later date.
Thank you.
A last point I need to add, we are at an unfair advantage with people who practically command banks to spend money. We can't outspend banks. So with respect to your consideration to our plight, we appreciate you letting us have the opportunity to complete our foreclosure, and I promise we will be model citizens in this town. Thank you very much.
One of the taxes on these properties have been paid with tax lien, and so like for the town to expend like this money is not needed because we are foreclosing, and there's no open liens on the house per se, because the town.
Well, there are two open liens to.
Well, these are open tax liens.
Correct.
But the town
So there's a penalty
has
spend.
no taxes in arrears.
What I remember,
They're all paid up on the house.
there was only $6, I remember, which we'll be very glad to pay anytime you want.
So,
Well, Mr. LaHood, the tax lien from 2014 is $70,762. And the tax lien from 2013 is $1,757.
Well, we would be very glad to receive the data from your people, and we will discuss them.
I don't think you can discuss that, can you?
Besides,
Mr.
we are
Pollard, can
tax
you,
exempt. We are a tax exempt organization, and we
Well,
submitted the initial statement for the tax collector.
when you say here that you're authorizing refund tax lien redemption, who's gonna pay this money?
Mr. Pollard, can you assist us?
Okay, so let me just kind of go back to kind of square one. I think Judge Doyne retired from the bench. I don't think he was asked to leave. He retired from the bench to go back into practice. That's just because I'm around the court.
Wasn't he
So I
asked?
think that was kind of not exactly an accurate statement. But the long and the short of it is that you're asking the town to stop this proceeding, which they're supposed to do, to give you time to do whatever it is you think you want to do, which is basically foreclose on your tax sale certificate, right?
We are
And you can't
under duress.
foreclose on your tax sale certificate until 2 years goes by, right, you have to hold your certificate for 2 years, and you have to foreclose, and that's a proceeding you have to go through, correct?
Correct.
And you know also that there was a foreclosure sale by the bank, right? And that the bank did have a foreclosure sale, and the sheriff did
That's
issue
a
a deed.
normal process.
Yes, and so is the redemption of tax certificate liens.
Well, there
So
really-
what I'm saying is that nobody's stopping you from doing whatever you want to do and take whatever proceeding you want in court, but to ask the town not to follow its procedures on tax sale certificates is kind of a big ask in terms of the town just stopping that proceeding. My question to you is, and really, this really comes down to, if you feel that you are entitled, as a matter of law, to have these transactions stopped, then I just suggest you go to Superior Court and see if you can get an injunction, and see if you can get a restraining order restraining the town from passing these resolutions or issuing the payment of the monies for the tax certificates.
I promise we will do the same as you suggested, so I guess we're talking about the future or near future, when I come back and say, you get my promise now that I will do that. And actually, I had papers ready.
Okay, George.
I don't think that your promise to do that is enough to stop the town from doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Well, the town is gonna lose this money by giving it
No,
to
it's
the
not, the town
taxpayer.
is only entitled to get paid once. The town is not entitled to keep extra money. The town gets paid, it's been paid its taxes.
Correct.
It's been paid all the money it's due. It isn't owed any money, the town.
Right.
So it is authorized to do what it's about to do.
So what is with my question, when a first lien that is overdue is unfairly hindered by the legal system itself?
Okay, well, that's the point. So you're bringing that issue to the council, and the council is not a court, and they don't make those determinations. They just do their business. So they're doing their business. And they're not stopping you from doing whatever you want to do. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can foreclose, you can go ask for a restraining order, you can march down to Chancery Division and see if you can get a restraining order. Whatever you want to do, nobody's interfering with that.
Okay.
But the bottom line is that to ask the town to start making legal determinations of what your rights are vis-à-vis other tax sale certificate holders is an unfair request.
Mr. Pollard, I did not hear this before. Now I did hear it. I want to have the opportunity to consult and come back and respond to your request. To
It's not
let the municipality go.
it's not necessarily a request, it's more of a statement of where the town is sitting right now vis-à-vis your position. I mean, that's really what it comes down
Just
to.
one clarification. What does it entitle, what will the town, entitle the town, what action by authorizing refund, tax lien redemption? What will it proceed with the town do if these resolutions are passed? What does this mean?
They'll give the money back.
To the people who bought the tax certificates.
Right.
Why would you want to give them back?
Under
Well,
what-
but they've been paid the money. We've been paid the taxes.
Right.
Well, their intention is to foreclose on the
But
property.
look, we don't get
Okay.
we don't get involved with their intentions, just like we don't get involved with your intentions. And if they want to, whatever they want to do, they can do. And ultimately, you know, this is not a let me just say one thing, okay? I don't think it's worthwhile for the council to take up the time to argue the legality of what your rights are vis-à-vis other lien holders, and nor is it the place to discuss what the owner of the property might do. I mean, the property owner might do what he takes care of, and he might get rid of those tax sale certificates altogether. Long and the short of it is, nobody's rights is being prejudiced. Nobody's rights are being prejudiced tonight. That's really what it comes down to. So you're free to do whatever you want, but the council is not the forum to start making legal determinations of who's got priority and
Yes.
who can stop somebody from doing something
Thank you.
and stuff like that. It's just
One last
yeah.
question. When this is approved, how long until the checks will be written?
I don't know how long that would be.
I don't know the answer to that.
Mr. President.
That's all we have, Mr. Lewis.
Mr. President, I think she is under the impression, and because she is not a lawyer, possibly she is.
I understand, but
not correct.
we're not attorneys either, and our counsel has spoken to the issue. This is not the venue for you to ask us to do this. So I think you know.
She's under the impression that we can foreclose even though you have paid the monies out. The monies are gonna be wiped out when our foreclosure is gonna go through.
Mr. LaHood, I understand that, but that's not for the council to
So I'm
decide.
surprised why the municipality wanna shed money when they need to.
It's
use
not
it.
we're not shedding any money, Mr. LaHood. This is money that's been paid by Mr. Themis and our Guyer Zapantis, and they're getting a refund for the money that they put out to buy your tax liens in 2013 and
Mr.
2014.
Themis did
No,
not pay these
No,
taxes.
the owner of the property didn't pay.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
the
fine.
And it's
the
not-
trust, I
yeah,
apologize, yeah.
That's-
Again, I shouldn't even be
Yeah,
speaking to that. So,
yeah, right.
Mr. LaHood, this is not the venue for you to
We-
proceed with this. Sorry, thank you.
very much
I
for
think-
making it clear in my head. I'll straighten it.
I
Thank
think
you.
there's a lot of confusion on the part of the
No,
council.
I'll explain to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. LaHood. Would anybody like to come up and address the council?
We would like to get a copy of the transcript.
No, just, we'll do it all for next week.
It'll be,
There was no transfer.
There's no transcript.
Mary Ann Osmond, 960 Adams Place, on a letter. Thank you for the clock. It is working. I was here last Tuesday night, and it wasn't working for the zoning board, but it must have been fixed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so I'd like to thank everybody for that. Also, when are you having additional budget meetings?
We will
Do you have
have-
dates, or?
we are going to complete our regular meeting tonight and go into a budget meeting after tonight, and we will set another date tonight.
Okay, because I read in the paper that Westwood is actually approving their budget tonight. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
William Ferrara, 2556 Cleveland Avenue. I just wanted to speak about potential road program for this year. I
Okay.
don't know if you've gotten to the point of budgeting for it, but last year, I understood you were going to do a cluster, and that cluster was north of, between Pascack Road and Washington and the Hillsdale border, going into Boulevard. Well, Clinton Avenue and Chestnut were done, but none of the cross streets were done. So I don't know why that was that way, that it was left there, but the same thing has happened when we did south of Washington Avenue, like Cleveland. Valley Court was never done. Willow Street was never done. Willow Street needs to be done. So I would suggest that you look at doing those when you do the program. And if you're gonna do a cluster, it would seem to me that take the cluster and do all the streets in one specific area at one time rather than hopscotching around. So that's the first thing. The second thing has to do with Cleveland Avenue again. 2 years ago, when it was done, I had reported problems with the road after 6 months, and they ended up patching it. Well, that was down below Willow, between Willow and Sussex. Now cracks are appearing south of Washington Avenue around the gas station. They're going curb to curb. I think Mrs. Osmond brought this up last week, the last meeting, where she is. So I don't know who's laying out the specs for this, and who's making sure they're being done, but I think it's to be reviewed. It shouldn't seem to me that after 2 years, or I think in our case it was less than a year, these roads are opening up again, and we haven't even completed the program. So that's one question, one concern. The other concern has to do with Clark Field. As you know, there was an organization formed, the Forensic Clark Field. Tom Sears and Peter organized it last year. They collected money. Tom paid out of his pocket, and he put in a number of trees. Tom paid out of his own pocket for a test, soil test. And the results of that soil test were given. I don't know where it stands now. At the last meeting, when Tom was on the council, I brought it up, and he indicated the program wasn't over at the time, so I don't know where it is. I suggested that if there's any money left over from the Friends of Clark Field, to give it to the 3 Girl Scout troops that help out that day. So I don't know what the status of it is now, and I want to make sure that whatever recommendations for remediation of the park was made in the report that Tom got was done, or started, because they made recommendations that certain things be done beginning in the spring, and I just don't want to make sure it's on the program. The other thing I wanted to ask about was, you talked about the fire department and redoing the firehouse. Are you going to do it in the same spot, or are you considering any other properties? I know last year they considered the property, and they passed on Bethany Church. I was wondering if the TD Bank property is in play to move the firehouse, say, to
I
that
think the
property.
TD property.
TD property's already been sold. The TD property's already been sold,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, the point being to take that, move the firehouse, take it down, and add commuter parking to that area, which is definitely needed, so I don't know, where that stands.
I think we're waiting on a study, correct, Peter, on what we're going to do with the firehouse
Okay.
at this point. To get a general idea, do we keep it at that location? Do we move it to another location? It will probably stay at that location, but I think it'll be rearranged. We can get a little bit more parking for the commuters. We have some additional property to the west of it.
All right.
So again, we got to wait for the report to come back.
Okay. And is there going to be some sort of a report done by the committee that's handling the Memorial Field review, and that will be done in public, so the public can know what the recommendations are?
Mr. Farrar, the council is still awaiting for that report.
It's been a year.
I understand. I'm new to the council,
I
but
know, I know.
we have, as of today, we have not received the report.
I have an opinion of what should have been done, but it wouldn't have been a committee, but that's, I know.
Well, I can answer your question that we have not received the report as of today.
All right, okay. And then the other thing has to do with the intersection.
Yes.
There was a $600,000 plus grant that Mr. Steele had written and put into the Department of Transportation before in the fall. Is there any idea where that stands?
At the last meeting, Administrator Grow responded that the grant is still outstanding. It hasn't been determined whether we will receive it or not. So it's still pending, I guess.
Okay.
She commented at the last meeting about the grant.
Thank you, that's it.
Thank you. Would anybody?
I just didn't want to interrupt Mr. Farrar while he was talking, but I'll have Mary Ann reach out to the engineer who did those roads to take a look at them and see what we can do. I'll reach out to Tom on the soil testing and see where that stands. And also, I did sign a contract with an architect who's doing a study on the firehouse to see can the existing one be rehabbed to make it functional, or to move it to the, if you're looking at the firehouse, I lose track of direction, but he was thinking move it to the right where the existing commuter parking is, also move their monument then closer to it, and then open up where that red house is and the other land for more commuter parking.
Mr. Mayor, can we get a copy of that contract when you get a chance?
Of course.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and address the council at this time? Seeing nobody, can I get a motion to close to the public discussion?
So moved.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Elman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Under ordinances, adoption, second reading, we have none tonight. Introduction, first reading, none. Individual resolutions, Resolution 18-159, a budget transfer for gas natural. Can I get a motion to approve that?
Motion. Second.
Before we,
Councilman-
I'm sorry, before
sorry.
we vote, do we know if, when we're making these resolutions, if, for budget transfer, if the prospective 2018 budget accounts for these shortfalls where they've been identified?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Excuse me, Sue.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Comments?
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Under consent agenda, all the following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of the council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Resolution 18-160, authorized refund tax lien redemption, Block 1201, Lot 1, 318 Williams Road. Resolution 18-161, authorized refund tax lien redemption, Block 2208, Lot 3, 741 Wayne Place. Resolution 18-162, authorized refund tax lien redemption, Block 110101, Lot 5.01, 70 Gorga Place. Resolution 18-163, approval of the maintenance bond for Mike Fitzpatrick and Sons, Inc. for the 2017 road program and authorized release of retainage. Resolution 18-164, authorized refund of overpayment of property taxes, Block 2101, Lot 8, 36 Brayburn Drive. Resolution 18-165, certifying compliance with federal civil rights requirements. Resolution 18-166, authorized refund tax lien redemption, Block 2208, Lot 3, 741 Wayne Place. Do I have a motion, gentlemen?
Before we vote, I guess we got a motion to talk about it? A motion,
Second.
Any discussion?
yes. Since Mr. Farrar brought up, the problems with some of the roads, we're approving releasing retainage.
Well, that was for 2017. He's talking about a road in 2016.
You sure that all of them are 2016 roads? I'm not sure. There are quite a few that are, you walk around, there's some problems.
Do we
Have our
wanna-
engineer check that?
Gentlemen, do we want to table Resolution 18-163 until the engineer checks them and confirms that we're okay with them?
Well,
I would ask the administrator if that happened, but she's not here. I don't know if Pete has an answer to that question.
I don't have a definitive one, just looking at it quickly. It talks about a 2-year look-back period. So I don't know if they're getting released from that 2-year look-back period.
No, this is the beginning of the two-year maintenance bonds.
Okay. So I don't know if Ken can give us any words with Mary Ann not being here about.
Would that be a problem if we hold it off for a minute?
No, I don't think it's a problem.
I mean, I would say,
I think the engineer did make an inspection.
certification.
Yeah, I think he made his inspection, but if you want to hold off, I mean, I don't see.
I would make a motion to remove 18-163 until we get a letter from the engineer like we asked for at the last meeting. What's that? Okay.
Excuse me, can I help you a second? On your,
No, you
I
cannot.
think you forgot, there's one with my dear friend,
No, you can't speak right now. You can't speak right now.
has a 2010 tax lien that is
Can't.
still open also.
It's not up for authorization today. It's,
Well, do you want,
We can't speak
No.
to it, ma'am, I'm sorry.
how would I bring it to your attention for next month then? We pay his taxes back. He paid $2,897.
I'll untable it.
so I guess my question is, do we have more leverage retaining the cash or
Absolutely.
accepting the bond?
absolutely.
I mean, I think.
The maintenance bond is nothing more than a piece of paper.
I mean, remediation, I think we're better off holding cash. So I would hold on until we're satisfied.
All right, so
I think at the
you're-
last meeting, we asked Mrs. Grow to get us a report from the engineer on all those roads, if he was okay with them at this time, not when he released, because I'm sure he gave us a certification letter saying it's okay to release the retainage and ask for the maintenance bond, but we want to just confirm again that he's still okay with it. So if we could remove Resolution 18-163 from the consent agenda,
Please.
please. We have a motion, a second. We're going to remove 18-163.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second, I'll do a roll call.
Yes.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Could I get a motion to adjourn into conference agenda, gentlemen? Oh, I'm sorry.
Ask if there's any more questions
Are there any more questions?
regarding consent.
regarding consent of removing, we're going to
No,
remove.
no, for the other ones, the 160, 160.
Well, we're gonna
everything
do-
minus
That's what you
150.
just,
We just did.
You just approved them.
Yeah, we just approved all of them, so.
So we motion, we second.
Yep.
Take
and we
roll
roll
call.
call,
thought you just
everything
pulled.
but
we're
162.
good.
We tabled it.
I thought that was
Now,
the,
we're going to pass the rest
yeah,
of it.
okay,
We're going
so,
to pass the rest of them, yes. So,
you did pass the rest of it?
no, we're going to do that right now.
Okay.
So can I get a motion?
Can I just throw something
Sure.
out? I mean, just so for future reference, you're not quite handling this the way it's really designed to be handled. So when this is read, that opening thing, that gives the indication that everybody is good with all of the resolutions. But at that point in time, it says, should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. There's no motion necessary.
Okay.
You have a right, because there are resolutions you might want an independent vote on. So if Mr. Ullman says, I want number 161.
So the way we proceeded is
was
correct.
wrong. No, it was wrong. You should have said, not take the original motion. I'm just saying, anybody want a resolution for independent consideration? Then you take that off, then you do your motion on the consent agenda, and then you take a motion on the one
Okay.
that was removed, and you have your discussion, and then you vote. I'm just saying to make it a little bit more clear so you don't run into this kind of problem, but
But
that's the way.
that's what they did. I thought they did the motion, the
Yeah.
second, less 18-163.
That's what we
We did
did.
a roll call.
I thought-
And the
I
other
thought-
one was going to be tabled.
Okay, well, I
Maybe I
think that,
misunderstood, I'm sorry.
yeah, I think they took a motion on the entire consent agenda to discuss it. Then they took it off, and then they made a motion to remove. All I'm saying is just, at the very beginning, just identify what you want off,
Okay.
take it off. I
That's
mean,
fine, Mr. Paul.
Sue, the wording's fine. It's just that they have to just say, I'd like that removed for independent consideration, that's all.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So what do we need? We need a roll call on
The remaining.
the remaining resolutions then. On Resolution 18-160, 161, 162, 18-164, 18-165, and 18-166. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Now can we get adjournment to go into conference agenda?
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
You want to go to conference?
Mr. Cummings?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Signing in,
Council
yes.
President DeSena?
Yes. Under current business administration, Mr. Mayor, if you could update us on the commuter parking lot update? Of
yeah, just-
additional spaces that you were talking, said you were discussing it with
Before
several businesses.
I do that, is it okay if I just make that quick
Sure,
announcement that we spoke
absolutely,
about
yes.
before? At the last meeting, I had said at this meeting, we were going to try to honor some of the ambulance and fire department people. However, since we turned this meeting into a budget meeting also, it's not something I wanted to rush through, so we will do it at a meeting in the future. So just didn't want people to think that disappeared. To the commuter parking lot update, still in negotiation. We are getting closer to at least a temporary understanding with one of the places, even if it's not set in stone just yet for permanent. But again, since it's in negotiation, they asked me not to release anything until we're done
Okay,
with
we
this
have-
temp. But it is being worked on.
Okay, because we have many residents in town that are very anxious to get spots, so if
We're
we could.
trying to make it happen as quick as we
Okay.
can.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Under council business, we all received the lacrosse registrations. Anybody have any discussion with that? It was pretty, we got the numbers from the rec department. It seemed pretty the numbers make sense.
There was just one or two from other than
Yeah,
the
Woodcliff
Township and
Lake and
Westwood,
Emerson,
right?
yes. There's
So,
Woodcliff Lake resident.
They mostly serve the communities that the organization's supposed to, so it's good.
The next item on the council,
Mike, can I just ask a quick question or a
Sure.
comment? There was an email asking for the children who were registered in the program, and...
no, we did not. It was clarified. We were
Well,
just
okay,
looking-
that's what I wanted to
we were-
point out,
We
that
were
it-
just looking for
Numbers.
numbers
Yeah,
from each
okay.
individual town, which is Mrs. who's the?
Lawson.
Mrs. Lawson,
Lawson.
excuse me.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mrs.
okay.
Lawson provided,
So,
we clarified that. We wanted just the numbers. We did not want addresses. We
Yeah,
did
I
not
just-
want child's names or
I
anything.
just wanted to get it
No,
on
no,
the
no,
record,
that was-
in case someone opens that email, that information was not provided.
No, that information was not provided. We were just provided with.
Right, the numbers
With
and summary,
registration
right.
numbers,
Mhm.
summaries, that's
Yeah,
all.
Yeah.
Mr. Pollard, the next item on the agenda is discussing the Temple Beth or overlay zone. Would that have to be done in closed?
If you're talking about our
Yes.
settlement, yes.
Okay, so if we move that from there to the closed session, Sue, please?
So can I ask, we have an agreement, and that agreement encompassed or included two overlays, one for the Y and one for the garden center. Is this going to be a discussion on evaluating or adding to that?
I would like to discuss the alternatives available to us. Yes, Mr. Holman?
I think you should.
And we believe that,
I think without getting into trouble, we should just leave it at that, but
but that would be a closed session? Because isn't our COA satisfied? I mean, we do have one sort of outstanding Franklin Court, but
Okay, so the settlement is open. I mean, it's of record. It went to court, it's of record, and it is what it is. Now, if this is an item of somebody wants to do something new, I mean, nobody's talked to me about it, to tell you the truth. I have no idea what it is. But if it's something new, and it has to do with, it's not really litigation, actually.
No, it's not.
Because so in a way, it's, that would be the rubric I'd use to be enclosed. It's co-litigation, but I guess it's really not litigation, because that litigation is resolved with the agreement. You're right. So.
I mean, if we want to have if we begin the discussion and it heads to a point that it becomes an issue, I think we, can go behind that closed door. But, we've settled. There's one outstanding component of that settlement, but, there are two overlays that have been agreed by all parties and are part of the record, so,
And approved by the court.
yes.
Yeah, I think,
I guess my reason to put it on the council agenda was, would it be a benefit to the town, now that the temple has gone up for sale the past week, to include the temple property and the adjoining house next door as part of the overlay zone?
Well, I don't know that you would actually want to do that, because, don't forget, it's, your COA numbers are all established under this whole settlement thing. It's a pretty comprehensive analysis of the RDPs and how many units and so on and so forth. And we're now about to enter into another phase. So I think-
We're down the road so far.
I mean, we are, it's down.
If we're down the road too far?
We are, I mean,
Okay.
well, you know that there is a settlement, and it's not just a settlement, it's an approved settlement. There was a hearing on it. It's actually been implemented almost all the way, except for one property, which is going to be, a further item.
correct.
But the overlays are
Established.
They
Okay.
They were identified by the court master, they were approved by Fair Share Housing, they were approved by the court, and they, more importantly, or as important, is the size and calculations are very important. Now, it's not a situation where you can just say, let's take A and just throw it over to B. It involves a lot
No, you
more.
got acreage
I mean,
and all that,
acreage, you
yeah.
got units, you
Absolutely.
got topography.
I just, based on
environmental,
the information
yeah.
that was, I had a constituents ask me regarding whether we should, venture down this avenue, and I guess you've given us the answer that we're too far along to add this to the overlay zone.
We're almost there.
complete.
Yeah,
So
almost
I
there.
just wanted to, that was the.
Yeah, and I will say this too, I mean, let's face it, if somebody is looking to do another project, they can go to one of the board, if it's not zoned for it, they can go to the board. Right now,
I mean, we
this is-
give up, by adding an overlay,
Yeah.
don't we give up some of our controls?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes,
you know, that's why towns and individuals fight overlays, is because it takes some of the power that we have away from us, so
it makes them permitted uses, and you don't have the control of the site that you would ordinarily have without that.
Not to mention the cost involved again.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
This was brought to our attention, I think, the end of last year. I remember you came and an assemblywoman
Not me.
approached you,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
approached you
yes,
about an
right.
overlay zone, and we
Yes,
said that, we-
yeah.
you know, we're pretty
That's
much,
correct.
you
That's
know,
correct, yes.
we don't want to go through
I
this.
guess
and-
my looking at it was if we could add ratables to a property that doesn't pay taxes right now because it's a house of worship,
You are right.
it would be a benefit to the town, but, and I guess the way to look at it is, without making it an overlay zone, a developer could go to the zoning board and have it, and ask for permission to change the usage of the property to that, and then we would still benefit from the ratables that would come from that. That was my, that's why I put it on the agenda. I was looking at it as taking a property that's not on the tax rolls and adding it to the tax rolls in order to bring us ratables. That's all I was looking at. But I guess if we're too far along, then I agree with that.
We spent a lot of time,
That's
a lot of meetings, Ken's done a lot of work,
Okay.
we can see the destination, we just gotta get there.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
It's close, it's close. Let's not take a detour this.
Anything else, anybody, on that? Under road opening permit ordinances and legislation, Suez has asked us for 3 road opening permits and a waiver because some of their streets have been recently paved. But as part of the waiver, they will repave those streets from curb to curb and not just a trench repair. So I don't see any issues, and Mr. Azzalino has also issued us a report, also dated February 20th, dated February 19th, agreeing with Suez doing the water main replacements on the different streets, Gabriel Way, Hampshire Road, Robinwood Road, and they will be putting a new water main, and new fire hydrants, and new house service connections. And then once the trench is given time to settle, they will mill and pave the entire street to a depth of up to 3 inches of asphalt.
The entire length of the street.
The entire length and width of the streets where they've disrupted.
Where they disrupted.
Correct. Yeah, most of the streets are going to have water main to one end to the other, but some of them, I believe, are shorter. So,
Okay.
does anybody have any objections to that?
No, but just on this issue, perhaps we could just follow up. I don't know who did the work on Van Emberg down by Immaculate Heart,
Okay.
but it's a disaster. I don't know if they didn't want to repave it or repair it to a finished state because it was the middle of winter.
That's
But-
probably the case, Mr. Coleman, but we'll follow up on that.
Can we ask,
Sue, can you look into that?
PSC&G did that one, right?
Yeah, that's the gas main.
well,
It's
there's a
gas.
connection.
PSC&G.
I'm
We'll
sure
reach out
it's
to 'em.
I'm sure it's just because of the winter months and they're waiting for the weather to
We
break.
hope so, but let's make sure.
Yeah, let's make
Yep.
sure.
I just, Ken, on this, somebody did some redlining and wrote their notes. I don't know if this is you or somebody else, but I assume you looked at it. I can't
Yes,
read-
I didn't- well, I couldn't get any dark.
Basically, the last arrangement we had did not involve milling, this one did. So I checked with the engineer, and he said, yes, we'll do milling, and so the wording was incorporated.
Okay.
I've gone over it with the engineer's approved it. I don't really do any of these things without the engineer saying it's okay.
Okay. My only other comment was, somewhere, I can't find it now because I read it in the computer, but it talks about whether we pay and get reimbursed or whether somebody else pays directly, the contractors, which I would prefer, so we don't have to pay, lay out the money, and then fight for it. I'm not sure which number it was, though, but it was somewhere that we have the choice, that they can pay and we don't have to deal with paying for it and then try and collect it.
In item number one, Mr. Bruno, at the township's it's our option, so I guess if we want to make it that Suez is responsible for hiring, first, at the township's option, within 30 days of request for same, Suez, New Jersey will either make direct payment to the contractor or reimburse the township for actual quantities billed by the contractor to pave the public roads from curb to curb.
Yeah, my opinion, just fine, is let them deal with the contractors.
Is everybody okay with that, gentlemen?
Yeah, the engineer will be there to inspect while they're paving, so.
And they will be paid, and Suez will post escrow for the engineer to be there.
Is this our engineer, Azalina?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ken, question for you. If the paving that they do is defective, do we have recourse to Suez for them to come back and have their people fix it? So they pave it, it caves in, or whatever it is? How does that work?
I actually have to ask
Township's
Paul,
like-
I actually have to ask Paul whether the contractor comes back and does it. The contractor may do it, Suez's obligation is to pay for it.
Right.
So I don't know, and I think that if it goes over a dollar amount, they're allowed to get their own contractors, but ultimately it's a contractor that's coming back to do the
We're
work.
saying just like
Yeah.
what Mr. Farrar brought up.
Right.
In the past, if it fails in a year, we're stuck with, defective roads.
Right.
What's our recourse? That was really my question. So
I hope this
maybe you want to
counts.
answer. Paul.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
This is the second time they're tearing up Hampshire.
Anything else, gentlemen, on that?
No.
It got better since they put that pumping station in, but it's still not the greatest.
Excuse me, Mr. Pollard, do they need to do a vote on this, or just a voice vote? How should you like, or how would you like us to handle this? Some sort of approval from the council?
Why don't you take a vote approving the permits?
Okay,
Do I need a motion in a second?
Yeah, well, it could have been a resolution that was done.
we
Yeah.
didn't do it with the last one.
We didn't do it? Okay, all right, then
The
just
other
do,
one,
then just do a
so-
motion.
Make a
Then just do
motion.
Can I get a motion to
approve the
approve the
permits.
3 permits from Suez?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Sorry, Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Thank
Next
you.
thing on the agenda, gentlemen, is the holdover ordinance. I know I sent it to everybody. We prepared, Steve and I both spent some time preparing it. We have given it to Mr. Pollard. Do you have any written,
I have things to say about it.
can we have that in writing to us?
I'd like to give it to you verbally. I think it's important that you hear it verbally. You asked me to give it to you, you did.
Well, we asked it for in writing. so-
Well, you asked me on Friday afternoon.
I understand, so, I mean, it's-
But, it's basically,
That's it?
it's basically an illegal ordinance, and I'll go through it with you. It's, represents another ordinance that's, yeah, I guess, is the creation of what you feel is appropriate to do. You know that I'm supposed to be preparing ordinances, you realize that, right?
Well, that's why we sent it to you.
Well, no, but I'm just saying.
No, Mr.
Yeah,
Pollard,
yeah,
it was sent to you.
Yeah.
We did not put it on the agenda. It
Right.
was sent to you for your review.
Right.
And I guess my first question is since it addresses certain people that are in this position, are you able to review this ordinance?
Yes, I am. I can tell you what the law is, and that's my job to tell you what the law is.
Okay,
So,
I just want-
and I'm happy to do it, and I'm happy to do it. So,
I have something to say too. Are you going to proceed with
no,
a...
but go ahead, you can go ahead.
I got this in an email and was totally perplexed as to why, where, but it seems to have its motivation. So I have something to say to you all, and more to some of you than to others. I was fortunate enough to be elected to a seat on council by the voters who had faith in what I said to them and what I issued in printed matter during the campaign that I wrote myself. Everything I said was about me and was factual and accurate. as were my intentions for the township. I promised to improve conditions to the township, to improve the quality of life for all of the age groups and the populations, and to try to reduce the tax burden. So far, I've pursued these goals for all the people to the best of my ability. During this short period that I've been a member of the council, I've had 3 occasions to be concerned with the direction we are going and with the energy and resources we are wasting on public infighting. Our Sunshine Law provides that all of the public's business should be conducted in front of the public, in an open public setting. We have pledged to be fully transparent. I am deeply concerned about the continuous secretive and improper meetings, communications, and actions which are absolutely contrary to the Sunshine Law. Such items as the private discussion and preparation of the $400,000 capital ordinance for the intersection, presented during the reorganization, the email to council members requesting a consensus and a reply in order to spend $3,000 on an illegal activity, and lastly, the current proposed 60-day holdover ordinance that was emailed to the town attorney for review, supposedly from the council. I got a copy too. I didn't know anything about it till I saw the email. I was not knowledgeable or included in the discussions regarding the proposed ordinance. I have not participated and will not participate knowingly in any of these clandestine meetings or discussions which would violate the Sunshine Law and, in my opinion, in my view, the public trust. I have not been included and will not participate in any violation of the public trust. The obstructionist nature of these activities only serves to further delay important public projects that we all promised to work on, that we all pledged to move forward, that we all were going to devote all of our energies to a better place to live in this our township. All these convoluted and Machiavellian efforts do nothing but sap the energy and determination needed to restore and rebuild our township. Everything that is being done in secret is not an entirely worthy pursuit. I will not intentionally participate in any violation of the Sunshine Law and will devote myself to the positive aspects of our public, in capital letters, meetings and work sessions. We have intersections to build. The commuter parking needs enlarging and refining. The public services for our residents can always be improved and are being improved continuously with very little mention, while we attempt with our best efforts, and of this everyone is guilty also, with our best efforts mutually to reduce the tax burden. I implore you to return to your mission of multiple projects for the benefit of the citizens of the township and leave this infighting and scheming behind. We have much work to do, and it must all be done in a fully transparent atmosphere. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cumming.
Getting back to
May I
the,
ask a question? You refer to $3,000 of illegal activities. What is that?
I have an email regarding $3,000 in a temporary budget for independent consultation, which I'm told is improper and inappropriate.
It's not illegal, first of all. Second of all, just so you understand, that was put in the council budget. It was presented, and we were told by Mr. Paula that we couldn't do it. So there's no illegal activity. It was presented in the budget, and there was no secretive action regarding that, if that's what you're talking about. That's number one. Number two,
The email's right here.
you mentioned secretive meetings. Are you accusing
Yes,
the council?
I'm looking you in the eye.
Are you accusing the council of having secretive meetings, the other members except yourself?
I believe this has happened.
Are you accusing us of?
I believe that this has happened.
How
else would these documents come together?
I disagree with you wholeheartedly. We have not had any secretive meetings. I believe if you're calling us the obstructionist, a meeting was held with the county. The mayor and council wasn't even told the date. Former council people went to that meeting. I understand that the mayor made a statement that the county asked for that councilman to go. We were not invited. We asked the mayor to send the county executive a letter to put the intersection on the 2018 budget for his state of address and I still have not seen that letter. Have you? We haven't seen it.
Nothing.
Were you aware of the meeting?
A contract was signed.
Which meeting, please?
That the mayor had with the,
A contract was signed. Mr. Bruno,
I was there,
Mr.
sir.
Bruno, can I just continue
Yeah, go ahead.
before I lose
I'm
my thought?
sorry, I was there.
A contract was signed for the firehouse. Have you seen that contract, Mr. Cumming?
Not at all, sir.
So how are we being secretive when all this was done and the council was not even made aware of it? So I don't understand. So we're not trying to be obstructionists. We're trying to do the right thing for the township. And I agree. The ordinance was sent to everybody at the same time, and I'm the one that sent it, and there was nothing illegal about sending it. And so if we're trying to be the obstructionist, I didn't know the contract was signed. The mayor still hasn't told us who he signed the contract with and how much he spent on it. Did we go out for RFQ on that? Did we get an RFP? Did we just sole source it? We don't know any of these answers. And I would imagine you don't either, for the firehouse or the intersection meetings or the letter to the county
I
executive.
don't know if they happened this morning or
Okay.
last week, but no, I don't.
Okay.
so we're all in the same park.
Things are going on left and right.
Not exactly.
I'm available and my phone lines work, and
Yeah, not
nobody
exactly.
calls me,
So we're all
except
we're all
Mr. DeSena after the email.
Yeah, let me just jump in for a second, if you would, just to kind of clear up this thing about the $3,000. So, there was an email that was sent on January 21st by Mr. Bruno to the council, all the council. And that email did include Councilman Cumming. And the email says, "All, please read the document Pollard sent regarding the 4 options for the township government. Of course, it appears that it is incomplete since we are still told about updates not included on the document. If we are in agreement, there is $3,000 in temporary budget for independent consultation. I will speak with attorneys to assist unless told otherwise. I'd like to have a work session at the end of February to discuss." Okay, so this kind of an email is a violation of the Sunshine Law, okay? As is many of the emails that I see going around that I actually sent, and I don't see all of them. Now, Sue was concerned about the Sunshine Law. She sent out the bulletin. Mary Ann Groh was concerned about activities in violation of the Sunshine Law. She pressed to do something with the Sunshine Law. I sent out an email and was asked to weigh in, and I did weigh in, okay? And I think what is apparently happening is that there is communication for decisions, for discussions among council people that is supposed to be done at a meeting. That's what the Sunshine Law is supposed to do, okay? It's not supposed to be do it privately and then orchestrate it so it comes up in the public hearing. So, and the reason I got this, just so you know, was that Mr. Cumming wrote to me and he was concerned and he asked me, is this in conformance with the Sunshine Law? He just sent that to me, okay? Because I obviously wasn't copied on it. But let's put that aside for the moment because we can talk a lot about that. I think everybody here knows or should know what the Sunshine Law is and what it proscribes, and those kind of activities should not be done.
I think since the email was
Okay.
sent out clarifying it, the council has made a conscious effort to not violate the Sunshine Law from that email.
Okay, well, let's move on to the current ordinance. And I think that so let me ask you, when you and Steve did this ordinance together, what case did you look at? There is no
No
case?
case law.
No case law.
I took it from the Supreme Court, Constitution. The
You did?
intent.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Well, you must write like the justice that wrote the Casamano case, right? Because
Yeah, sure.
you lifted right out of the, it's right, if you look word for word, it's right in here. But
Ken,
but
again, we're not here, we
no,
asked you for your
yeah.
legal opinion
I'm
on
giving my
the
legal opinion, but I'm giving a little honesty too, because I don't like to be,
Well-
I don't like to hear like, nonsense. So I'm trying to be honest about it also, okay? And I'm gonna talk about this
Well,
specific.
there's
Yeah.
people on this dais
Yeah,
that
yeah.
don't feel
Yeah.
the ordinance is nonsense.
Okay, well, I'm
Because it's basically, it's addressing concerns that
Okay.
people on this dais have about holdovers.
And I have no problem with that.
And that to me is not nonsense.
you know what? You know
And for
what?
you to use the word nonsense
Yeah,
is,
what's nonsense is to say that something wasn't lifted out of some cases, and I'll tell you why, because I have the case right in my thing here.
That's
Exactly, and I find it
Or
very hard.
Is it hard, is it
Yeah.
illegal to lift stuff out of
No,
the
it's
case
not
for
illegal.
case law?
No, I
You
just,
do it all the time.
no, I just asked if you did,
We do it.
because I'm gonna talk about that case, why it's different. That's
We do-
why I asked.
we do it
That's
all the
the only reason I did it, because I was gonna talk about that case. So let's start out with what this government's all about, and the basic law of the Faulkner Act is, one of the principal things, 4069A 43, the departments, okay? And I'm sure you read this is nothing new to you. I'm sure you've gone through it many, many times already in your travels. Each department shall be headed by a director who shall be appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of the council. Quote, "Each department head shall serve during the term of office of the mayor appointing him and until the appointment and qualification of his successor." Okay? It is an organic law of the Faulkner Act. There is no vacancy. It specifically provides for the continuation of the directors, okay? So, the ordinance itself,
I guess, Mr. Pop. But before we go
further, let me go further. Don't cut me off.
I'm not cutting you off.
Don't cut me off. Let me just finish what I have to say.
Wait a minute. You're our guest here. You're not running the meeting here. Remember
Okay,
that.
I understand that.
Well, that's why I asked for a written legal opinion on the ordinance that was submitted to you for review. I did not ask you to sit up here and grandstand about its illegality or nonsensical terms.
Okay, I'm
And we
not-
have not, and I know I gave it to you on Friday, so right now, I would like to table this until we receive your legal written opinion on this ordinance, and that is the end of it, because we're gonna stand here and grandstand, you're gonna read us all the ordinance, we just wanna know, is it something that is available to the council, or is it not?
It is
And-
not.
Thank you, that's all we need to know.
The reason,
But that's all we need to know.
Mr. DeSena, the reason, the simple reason, it violates the organic law of the Faulkner Act. It is distinguishable from the case that seems to be quoted from, which deals with tax assessors who have vacancy provisions. The quotes took out the word tax assessor and put in department heads, and that's illegal because the organic law prevents it. Plus, there is a case right on point which specifically says that directors continue and there is no vacancy, and there
Fine.
is no
Well, we-
let me just finish. And there
Well, we're
is-
gonna get this in a
No,
legal right.
and there is no requirement for the mayor to continue to give appointments to you and come with different people. And the only other thing I'll say, and I'll just say this, I mean, the ordinance itself says the executive branch did not seek the advice and consent of the council. That is wrong. The mayor read his appointment, he asked for the advice and consent of the council, and there was a resolution for the council to pass. It was not moved or seconded or voted on. I will give you a written opinion, it's perfectly fine.
Thank
It's
you.
clearly improper, the ordinance, just want to let you know.
That's what we need to know.
Let me ask you one question.
Yeah,
What's the point of advice and consent if there's no teeth to it?
Well, here's the thing. There are,
What-
if you read the case that I gave you, that Sharp James case, and you realize that government is a balancing of things, you have your areas of power and the mayor has his, and you use the word, I think it's in there, usurping. You can't jump over the process, and the legislature made the determination on this thing alone. There are vacancies, there are positions, like the tax assessor, there's a vacancy. But the director in a Faulkner Act, there is no vacancy, there's an automatic holdover, and that's it. So just because you want to identify that and say, well, geez, we can't do that, that may be one of the things you can't do. You could do a whole host of other things.
That's correct.
So that, and there's a lot of things the mayor would like to do that he can't do because
I mean,
he doesn't have the votes.
the intent of advice and consent, there's obviously an intent for those words to have meaning.
And,
Apparently, there's no meaning to those words.
no, there is meaning to his words because,
What's the meaning?
because the legislature has said advice and consent and has continued the director until that happens. And what does that mean? It means you can work together, you can try and come up with something together, otherwise government runs. It doesn't stop. And you can't arbitrarily say, we, the council, are going to change the organic law of the Faulkner Act and say, it's 60 days, that's good enough for us. So I'll give you an opinion on it. You can read it, but
Thank you,
it's
Mr.
as
Thompson.
clear as day.
Anything else, gentlemen?
Since quite a few people weighed in, can I also make a few comments?
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
So you're shutting me down on this?
Yes. We're waiting for Mr. Pollard's decision, and then we'll let you speak then.
Even though it had nothing to do with his decision?
His decision? No.
My
no.
comments have nothing to do with his decision?
At this time, there's no reason to continue this discussion since Mr. Pollard's already weighed in.
So I guess this is one instance where the checks and balances work. I want to say something and you're prohibiting me.
Yes.
So just like advice and consent, it looks like it goes both ways.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anything else, gentlemen? If we could take a 5-minute break so Rick can get the microphones set up for the budget discussion for 2018, if everybody's okay. Take a 5-minute recess so Rick can get that set up, and then we'll go from there. One quick reminder to register your dog. Currently, the late fee is $5. As of Thursday, March 1st, the late fee will be $25, so make sure you register your dog and cat. I've done my civic duty for tonight.
Thank you very much.
Is that good, Ms. Sue? Moving on to the budget. We'll start on page 24, gentlemen, with the Police Department of Public Safety. Mr. Bruno, if you...
So, well, Marion's not here, so I assume that the salaries are just contractual at this point. Is that correct?
That's correct. She went through and calculated what actual would be.
Okay. The question on the overtime, I'm not sure whether that's a number that we use and then, I guess, try to add to it, or is it a factored number, or how do we get the overtime number? I guess is my question.
Basically, overtime is set up for vacation, sick time, injury time, court. Items that don't fall into the normal everyday use.
Okay.
It's hard to factor all of it.
I mean, it's consistent, it
Yeah, a
seems
lot of it
consistent,
is
but...
like, the training this year went up astronomical. Last year, at the end of May, the state hit me with another 220 hours of mandatory.
Chief, could you come on up, please?
I was gonna say, why don't you all?
Yeah, why don't we pull some chairs up, and I don't smell, Rich. You want to sit right here, slide down, whatever. We got plenty of room at the table.
And if you would just make sure to talk towards the microphone.
Sure.
We have an
Yes,
extra
we have another chair. We have
here.
another chair here. Want to sit next to?
Go for it.
Yeah, we can share. Right. Excellent. Thanks.
Since we took this minor break, were we going to say we were okay on the salaries other than the chief? I don't know that we actually said we were or
Well, we
weren't.
haven't gone that far yet. Mr. Bruno took it.
Oh, you
to-
want
The
to
chief's
group it into
contract-
overtime?
This contract's done, that's in here, right?
Well, this said salaries other than chief. I didn't know, well, it was as actual, but I don't know that we
Okay.
voted on it
So
or
that-
anything. I just didn't want to skip it
As long
unless
as it's
it's
contractual,
intentional.
so we can hold and talk to Mary and make sure it calculates, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're back to the
Mr.
overtime.
Bruno's question in regards to overtime, one of the biggest ones is training overtime. Last year, the end of May, between two mandatory trainings set up by the state for mental health and active shooter, we got sacked with an additional 220 hours of overtime for the guys to train. And this was mandatory training set up by the Attorney General, and I had no way of budgeting for this last year. This year, we have the same amount of extra training. I mean, your standard firearms training, your active shooter training, there's mental health training, there's recertification for 911, there's recertification for using the state computers, there's CPR training, there's AED training, there's Narcan training, domestic violence training. The training list has got phenomenal. It's increased exponentially over the years to the point where it's become almost a separate budget item for itself. And most of the training last year came out of the overtime budget, so this year I budgeted more training hours just to accommodate.
In overtime.
No, guys gotta go to the academy.
No, I know, I'm
for
just
most of this
saying,
training.
the overtime numbers has it.
Yeah, a lot of it's that. I got hit with sick time last year. One officer had some major surgery done. He was out most of the year.
Does sick time generally result in overtime for somebody to
Not
fill in?
necessarily. What I try to do, I try to schedule the tours to be a little heavy at certain times of the year. The sick time and the vacation time all coincide in the summertime when people are on vacation. Then that does affect overtime as far as sick time goes. But during the main course of the year, sick time very seldom creates overtime.
But just when people are out, normally vacation time and stuff, then you don't have enough?
Between June and probably the middle of September
Okay.
is my heaviest months. July is really bad, August kind of starts narrowing down.
Will the new dispatcher help you with overtime?
Yes.
Chief? So that will help.
Just like tomorrow, it'll be, a dispatcher and 2 officers.
So it will help you.
It will
So
help,
in the
yes.
future.
Oh,
So I
yes.
guess one of the questions I had, I'm the new guy here, so I know last year we had budgeted for 2 civilian dispatchers.
We just hired one.
We hired one. Are we
a couple weeks ago.
planning on hiring an additional one
We're
eventually?
getting more resumes
Yes,
in.
Okay, so we are going to make
Yeah.
that, because I know last year, reading
Right.
through the minutes, I wasn't here, of
Right.
course, but I did come to meetings and
Couple
stuff.
of the people we interviewed last year got other jobs.
Okay, I can imagine. That makes sense.
Right now, there's more resumes coming in. We're gonna go through the resumes.
So we will hire another dispatcher, civilian dispatcher, which will help overtime even more at
Yes,
that point.
Correct.
When we get to 4, that should fully civilianize the dispatch desk.
Perfect. That was the intent of last year's
Correct.
Budgeting process, which
Right.
Correct.
the former mayor never got to.
The way that would work, you would do a 12-hour shifts on the desk. And then you have a couple of per diems that are in the background, so when somebody takes a vacation day or calls out sick or needs training, then that per diem would pick up that full-time dispatcher's
Cost.
tour.
Okay. So it will help our overtime budget,
Correct.
hopefully in 2019, going forward into 2019. Because I see all it is an actual 2017 with, an increase based on contractual agreements rounded up. So hopefully next year, we'll be looking at a little less because we'll be using the 2018 numbers, which hopefully,
Yes.
I know things happen and you have training and all that.
Well, main
And we
thing-
have to go to training,
The main thing is to get the officers out of the radio room and on the road. And that would
Absolutely.
be civilianized to the radio room.
Perfect.
Do we have the ability to capture overtime by category, and do we want to? If you're indicating that quite a bit of our OT is driven by training, should we budget for that or account for it in that manner? And not that you don't capture, but...
Well, I do.
in the
Right now,
budget.
we have 37 categories of overtime.
Wow.
Broken down. It starts with sick, job-related injuries, vacations, school posts, training, meetings, and it goes right down the list.
So
And
is
it's all-
that the days, I'm sorry to interrupt you, so when you look at those categories, do you say these are the total days for each category that I get?
Hours.
Hours, okay, so you have.
What it is, when the officer submits an overtime voucher, he goes to the back of the voucher, or actually the worksheet, and there's one of 37 categories. He's got to pick out which category that is. Then when the captain enters it into the computer, if he thinks the category's got to be modified a little bit, then he modifies the category. But it's all broken down by category. This was done years ago.
Okay. So I think to
That's
add
your
all those
current
lines,
budget, though,
Mr.
right?
Ullman,
That's your
it
current
would be
budget?
worth it.
Is that,
No, this is the current breakdown for all last year as far as overtime. In other words,
I guess Mr. Ullman's question was, should we add like an individual line for each one of training,
Maybe
sick?
not 37,
But-
maybe like 3
The top 5 or something,
mean-
right?
It's gonna get spent anyway, you call it overtime, X.
Exactly,
Y,
it's all
Z.
one,
Well, I think, we're talking about civilianizing dispatch, that's the right term. And hopefully that will drive down some level of overtime or a category. So if OT is increasing and we're expecting a decrease because we're hiring civilians in the dispatch, you know, how do we rationalize that, and, you know, how do we understand it? Because I think we should understand that. If, you know, if we're bringing in civilians, I mean, I expect certain levels of overtime to go down. If, you know, the state is demanding hundreds of hours of training, you know, there's not much we could do about it.
What you look then is minimum shifts. In other words, you need at least 2 people on the road and somebody on the desk.
Sure.
Now, when you have a civilian on the desk, the tours normally would run a civilian on the desk, 3 people on the road, east side, west side, town car. And if somebody calls out sick, takes a vacation day, that person is not replaced. That person would, then the only time you would replace an officer on the road is if 2 people are out.
Okay.
Just to give you an example, I mean, last year alone, our training, we did 1,096 hours in training.
Wow.
Can you send that to us, Chief, or have Sue make copies, so just so we have it in the budget?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, if you compare that to the sick time, last year's sick time was only 332 hours. Sick time.
332 hours?
Just sick time. That was coverage. In other words, that
So the
was
sick time, so we spent 332 hours of overtime
just
due to
the
someone
sick
being
time.
sick.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a multitude of people.
Yeah, I
So,
understand.
I mean, just then as a comparison, as, you know, 3 times the amount of sick time, or rather, training as compared to sick time.
Sick time, yeah.
I mean,
So training was your
Training
biggest hit last year.
training and vacation, you know, vacation days, personal days are my 2 biggest hits. And training's not gonna get any lower. There's more stuff coming down the pike this year.
We get any funding from the state? Can we fight for it?
That's one of the things that's brought up at the chiefs' meetings, and I got a meeting tomorrow at the academy. The chiefs are always complaining about all this training, all this mandatory training, but nobody within the state is saying, well, this is how you gotta pay for it. That's not our problem. We're telling you, you gotta be trained. We're telling you it's mandatory.
It's
but we're not
unfunded
telling you-
mandate.
We're telling you that's your problem, how you pay for it. And that's where the problem lies in.
There are more unfunded mandates that are falling on the
Right.
township because
Not only the township,
it's every town, it's every municipality in New Jersey, but
Every law
that's the
enforcement
problem.
agency, whether it's municipal, county, state, prosecutor's office.
Everybody.
Everybody's mandated to take these trainings. And it's not getting any easier, it's getting more and more.
Okay, so we went from 272, so the 282 represents a 3.5% increase? I don't know what the 275 is, whose is that?
I put,
275, you put in
I put it
275? Okay. And the 282 is you,
that's
Peter?
figuring, that's figuring.
Yeah, again, that's, if you see the note that Mary Ann input, it's the actual increase by the 3.57, which is a guesstimate as to salary increases, and like that's some lower, some higher, so.
Okay, and
So it's
you
an
said it's
average.
time and a half,
Yes.
Chief?
Excuse me?
Time and a half?
Yes.
Okay, so this, we'll just talk to Marion about this when she comes, I just want to understand the calculations.
Sure,
Okay.
yep, if you like, yep.
Crossing guards, so we spent 61, we put in 66, we agreed with 66. There's an increase, is this more guards or just a different rate?
They get their paying, you know, the bump, you know, usually about 1.5 per year.
So is everybody okay with
Okay with that,
240,
yeah.
150?
Everyone good with that?
Everybody good with 240, 150?
I think last year Mike Ullman asked the question about crossing guards, and the comment was, when we're not using them in the summer, can we have them walk the streets and look at sidewalks and look at properties and do ordinance work?
I will defer to Captain Hackworth, traffic officer.
They're trained as crossing guards. I mean, they would need separate training for whatever you're looking for.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So in Ridgewood, the building, I believe it's the building department, sends out the crossing guards with a map of a certain area, and they get some basic training on, like, a lifted sidewalk, you know, they measure it, they flag it, and someone goes back to take a look at it to make sure that, you know, sort of a precursor to the code enforcement visiting it. So, I mean, I don't know if that's something we want to investigate, but, you know, these are individuals who are working for the town now, maybe something we
Well,
want to.
I mean, I'm assuming they have a 10-month work schedule.
No, they do also, the summer recreation program, they spend a week, 2, sometimes maybe it's 3 weeks crossing at Memorial Field.
Okay.
The only other additional job that they have other than their crossing position is we might use them for Memorial Day. But they do work a little bit in the summertime.
Okay.
Okay.
Vacation buyback. This is, I guess this is arbitrary.
No, well, again, if you look at the note, Mary Ann calculated, you know, what the 2017 actual, and then she went up by the
It
same
follows on to the next
three.
page, Bob. Goes
Yeah.
down, yeah.
So we should, I don't know what the reserve is in this. I just want to ask her what our reserve balance is on this too.
For vacation buyback, I don't think there is one.
Nothing?
I think there is for other types of buybacks, but I don't think for vacation there is.
Okay.
And is this driven by your current contract?
Well, I put in 25,000 for a vacation buyback.
It's a crapshoot.
It's kind of an arbitrary figure, only because guys have within the contract, an option of buying back half their vacation. Now, last year, only a few guys opted to do it. I don't know how many are gonna do it this year. See, that's the problem. I just don't know.
Yeah, because the whole department could opt to buy back,
Right,
and then you're going to be
and
short.
if, say, 10 guys opt to do it in December, and there's only, you know, X amount of dollars in there, then it goes over the budget, then we gotta ask for, you know, a transfer. The same thing goes with the personal days, even though the guys only get 2, you know, they have the option within the contract to buy back their 2 personal days if they don't use them. Now, I don't have the honest answer what's gonna happen in December.
There's no exact science to
There is-
this.
there is-
What happens if they don't buy it back? It gets carried or they lose?
No, no. With the vacation, they use it. If the personal days, they use it. Right now, you can carry over your comp time over to the first quarter of the year.
Yeah, it's up, it's all over, yeah, so.
And that, you know, if you don't use it by March 31st, you lose it. Same principle.
Okay, so you either buy it back or carry it over, and if you carry it over and you don't use it,
By
you
March
lose it.
31st.
Okay.
But there's no longer an aggregation of vacation time in a bank?
No.
Okay.
Whatever they get for that particular year, it carries over, it's for, like I say, for the first quarter.
Okay.
And the stuff that carries over cannot create overtime.
Are you more comfortable with 11,000 or 20,000?
So for 240,160, what do we
I put in
recommend
25,000 only because I don't know what the guys are gonna do at the end of the year, and I can't give you an honest answer. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's hard to calculate.
I just do not know.
You want to split the difference?
Mr. Mayor, any reason you came up with, you and Mary Ann came up with 11? You
Again, just
split the
based
hairs?
on
The
last,
previous,
based on last year, if you see it was 10-3, so, you know, we figure the same guys generally do the same stuff, but again, there's no science to it. It's
yeah, because
an
look at like,
estimated guess,
yeah,
right?
2015,
Right.
you appropriated 32 and you ended up spending 44, because I guess, so it's roll the dice here.
Yeah.
and-
Something that happens frequently
It
is,
also- I'm sorry, it also depends on what the officer's personal situation is, like, he might
Right.
want the money, but he might want to bank some of that to take the time off the following year, so it's.
It's hard to tell.
Did something happen in 2015? Was there an event
In regards to what, sir?
that the number, the buyback is so high?
It went to 44,000.
It was 44, then it dropped to 16, and then it dropped to 10. You know, was there a contract? Was there a
It might have,
natural?
it might have been some sick time, might have been a lot of construction jobs going on. I really would have to go back and look.
as I recall, there were a lot of construction details that year, so a lot of guys will take that as comp and then use comp, and they'll keep their vacation time in reserve till the end of the year,
Okay.
in case they need to use it around the holidays or something like that. God forbid, a death in the family, you know, a blessing like an event or a birth or something like that. They'll keep the time in reserve, and then at the end of the year, there's just no time to use it because the holidays hit, but at least they have it if they need it. But in the meantime, I believe we had a lot of outside billing details that year, so a lot of guys took their time in comp time, used comp time to take time off during the year, so their vacation time accrued toward the end of the year.
Yeah, and that-
2015, if you remember, was that major gas job, right, that went on Washington Avenue, where they installed the gas main. So a lot of us were, working a lot of hours, maybe taking some of that in time. I think if you look at the history of that, as you guys see it, it does
It's all over the
vary,
place.
varies widely from year to year.
Usually have enough in the line.
Yeah, so we can split the difference if you want. 1125, minus 12, add 6, make it 17.
Is everybody okay with 240, 160?
And then if we
Mr. Mayor, you
lose-
okay if we make it 17?
Oh, that's right.
Sure.
We'll make it 17, is that okay? So for 240-160, we'll make that 17,000?
On the construction time, do we get 100% back from that? So like when the cars are out of sight, like we get 100%
There's
of
a
that?
surcharge that we charge the contractor, we charge $35 an hour for each car. Then the town charges also the contractor, whether it's one of the utilities or a private contractor. They charge 35% on top of the officer's overtime rate on top of that. And then if we use our cones and barricades, there's the $50 a day charge for that, which comes to a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, sounds like. So we don't lose on that deal.
We make on that
On
deal.
outside billing, yeah, we do very
Yeah,
well.
that's fine. Someone asked me, I said, I believe we do, but I have no idea how it works, so, okay.
So this Suez work that's coming up, you guys will be involved in that? So there
Yes.
will
Oh,
be
yeah,
some work
that's all,
coming?
yep.
And there'll be
Okay.
the surcharges and the town will be.
Correct, okay, I just wanted to,
reimbursing
yeah, we just approved the road opening permits, I just wanted to make sure that the police department was involved in providing traffic.
So personal payback.
Excuse me, did we
Mayor
approve the
said-
crossing guards at 66, or?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
It's
Yeah,
more than
240,
1.5.
150. we
Okay.
approved.
It's more than 1.5% though. So I don't know if there's anything else in there. 1.5% of 61 is like 63, 64,000.
Yeah,
So
we're
we-
just rounding,
Okay.
we didn't do an exact calculation on
So
that.
personal day back, buybacks, 2,800.
Once-
Chief wanted 5.
Once again, that's like the vacation. I just,
Okay.
this last year, only a few officers took part of it. There's other years, guys buy back more.
This one looks a lot more steady in prior
It
years.
looks like the 15 was a big one. So 28, Mayor?
That's what we were recommending,
Okay.
based on prior year.
Gentlemen?
Good with it?
Sick day payout, 35. We were at 29 last year. Max exposure is 48.
Can I ask a question about sick day payout?
Yep.
Do all employees get sick day payout? Is your contract,
That's
or is it
from-
anybody before 2011 in the BRS?
What happens is they all get it, except me.
Well,
So, like-
all the police do.
All the police get it.
Even new hires after 2011?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody is, prior to 2011, is locked in, whatever they had in 2011.
Correct.
But the years after 2011, everybody does get it if they don't take any sick time. Or there's a
At their current
proration.
rate.
There's a prorated thing from 10 days down to 0.
Okay.
The 2011 contract changed it from carrying those sick days and being paid at the end in a terminal leave type fashion to, you get paid at the end of the year.
Yeah.
For 5,
Carryover.
for a maximum of 5 days.
Yeah, you can't bank.
Can't carry them, can't back them, exactly.
Okay, so 35.
Okay.
Records clerk. That one, I guess that's 1.5%.
Yeah.
but-
Correct.
Okay, so everybody okay with 240, 180?
Yes.
Director of Public Safety, 1,250 was asked for, 240, 190, everybody okay with that?
It's still Chiquetti.
Yes.
Sergeant Differential, 240-191, budgeted, requested 12,000, recommended 12,250.
Again, that was
This
just
is-
Mary Ann's exact calculation,
This
bumped
is
it to 250.
Yes.
So is this people moving into the sergeant spot?
That's officers who are in charge of the tour, whether it be a corporal or patrolman, when there's no sergeant on the tour.
Oh, so if there's no sergeant?
Then they get
become
sergeant's pay. They get paid sergeant's for that day.
Tour commander pay.
Tour commander pay.
Okay.
It's either they get
That
it as
explains
regular
it.
tour commander or overtime tour commander.
So is everybody okay with 240-191?
What'd you call it, tour commander? Tour commander?
Tour commander.
That's the way it's written in the contract, the provision, if you're looking for it.
How many sergeants do we have?
4.
4.
24192, none was requested and none was recommended.
Well, that's where we have ample reserves.
Yep,
So,
there's ample reserve there.
yeah, that's,
So, everybody okay with 24192?
What's the reserve?
it's up around 450 or so, I believe. It's quite high.
And we're asking for an additional 2?
No, we're asking for zero.
Zero.
There's zero, there's zero.
You're saying there was a request for 2, right? I'm looking at the right line, Adam? 192?
Was that you, chief? Did you request anything for that or no?
I did, but when I was told where it was, it's pulled.
Okay, I just want to know who requested it, so that was.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, when the actual figure of what's in the reserve, you pull that number.
Well, I
up.
would never knew there was a reserve. I've only found out this year from Mary Ann that there was a reserve.
Okay. So everybody okay with 24192?
Yes.
Yes.
You okay, Mr. Bruno?
Yeah,
Special officers, 240-193, 10 was requested and 10 was recommended. Special officers,
We still want to keep that in
Well-
light of what's going on, with possible
We should really think
T3s, you want to talk about that some other time?
that we'd rather talk about the closed session.
Okay, let's flag that one.
yeah, so let's flag 240-193 for further discussion and closed. 240-195 stipends, 1,050 requested, 1,050 recommended. Everybody okay with that?
What is that?
That's the corporal's
Oh, right, that's,
That's within the actual, that's not a contractual thing, that's within the ordinance of the department itself.
Okay.
So last year we paid Fasciano and Rydell, their
Correct.
corporals? Okay.
So we're
So this is 1,050?
50, yeah. Everybody okay with 240-195?
Yes.
Moving on. Chief salary, 240-199, everybody okay with that?
Is that the amount, chief? Chief, is that the amount, the contract? I don't remember. It's contractual, I know that.
Yeah,
And you
that
signed
would-
it,
yeah.
so-
Okay, everybody okay with 240-199?
Yes.
Moving on. Other expenses, 240-210, office supplies, 4,000 was requested, 3,000 was recommended. That concerns me, based on, prior, letters being written, and are we good with housekeeping and supplies and copy machines? We have, as a former citizen that
I've been
read all the
used-
bad headlines.
When it
so-
says office supplies, that's strictly
Yeah, that's not
clerical
soap.
stuff, you know.
Not-
That's
okay.
minus soap, that's,
Post-its and staples.
that would be like
Okay.
paper and.
So
Whatever
so
else.
you asked for 4, and we're getting,
Where's your file cabinets? Didn't you want file cabinets?
yeah, then you need,
Did you ever get them?
It's in here again this year.
It's in there.
Okay.
Mary Ann told me there could be something
Yeah.
going upstairs, so
Just for-
I might be
okay.
getting some of the other ones from up there.
so 240-210, 4,000 was requested, 3,000 was recommended. You based that on the 2017 actual, Mr. Mayor?
17, 16,
Yeah,
all the
so
prior years.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Fine.
Postage, none was
It's fine, 0.
0, because none was used in 2017. Everybody okay with 240-220?
We go upstairs to
Was that
other
moved
stuff?
into
Yeah.
another
Okay,
location?
that makes sense. Yeah, they're using the upstairs postage machine, so. Subscription and books, 250 was requested, 200 was recommended. Actuals was under 200 in the prior years, so that's what it was based on. Everybody okay with that?
So
Is there anything, Chief, that we should know of that's coming up, that you need more books this year, that we should?
Basically, I get updates for the Title 39, which is motor vehicle.
But I'm saying, is there anything
Yeah.
additional
No,
you think you
should-
may need that we should budget more in that?
I think we should be pretty good on that one.
Okay. Everybody okay then with 240, 240?
Yeah, but just as we said for the finance department, I mean, if there's a need
For-
to expand the library within the police department, or more, the training, it sounds like you have covered, but, we should take the opportunity to ensure that, it's fully stocked.
What did I put in for 250?
Yeah, but in past years, we used under 200, so that's
Yeah.
why I guess the mayor.
Do you get a lot of training stuff on the digital, internet, computer? And just-
We do a lot of stuff with NJ Learn and Mel, which is, for the GIF. But there's other stuff that requires books that we have,
You have to have
material we
books.
have to get.
Okay. So how much was that?
200, Mr.
Yep.
Bruno. 240, 250, dues, meetings, and conferences. 1,500 was requested, 1,500 was recommended. Is everybody okay with that?
Is this your chief meeting?
That's Chiefs Meetings, Traffic Officers Association, Detective Bureau,
Okay.
all the associations and stuff like that.
Office equipment repairs, 240-270, 250 requested, 250 recommended. Is everybody okay with that?
So
I think we should.
just
Yeah,
getting
go
back
ahead, Mike.
to
Go ahead, Mike.
your comment, and I had asked Sue to grab the letter that we received.
Yes.
So, I don't know if office equipment repairs, if that's, copiers and adding machines, but, as we are going through this, I think we want to be cognizant of the issues that were raised in this letter and ensure that they're being addressed.
Correct, that's what I meant, yeah.
In regards to that letter, sir, a lot of that stuff does come out of my budget, comes out of buildings and grounds.
Okay.
So you would have to talk to Mr. Waller in regards to that.
But I guess my question to you, Chief, is you're being provided what you need, that we don't have to have people donating supplies to the police department as of today?
As of today, we're getting some stuff.
So,
Not all the stuff.
So we need to speak to Mr. Lawler.
Well, you're not getting it because you're lacking, you're getting it just because people bring it?
Well, we're using
That's a lot of it.
We're using the stuff that's been donated to us.
Right. Mhm.
The soap dispensers are still empty. We're using our own pumps that were donated.
Mr. Mayor, can we speak to Mr. Lawler about that?
Yeah, but I think this is part of the cleaning services too, right? Shouldn't-
Yes, correct. Mhm.
And they should go around every soap dispenser in this building and putting soap in it. I mean, it's.
Yeah, but
not-
Mr. Bruno, what I'm being told is if you don't have the packages to put inside the soap dispensers, you can't put them in there.
They're kind of
Yeah.
old and anything.
Yeah, so I think you need new soap dispensers.
That's
Yeah,
from the-
and I think that's why they're using the individual
Correct.
From
pump
the
ones.
70s when the building was
Yeah.
built.
Yeah, so they need to be removed and upgraded, is what I'm asking the question.
Right.
'cause-
The other biggest problem is we just spent a tremendous amount of money putting in a new floor in police headquarters. The floor is filthy. Stop being cleaned.
Yeah, we're addressing that
Yeah,
actively.
Nothing's been cleaned for years, so.
But you
Yes.
just spent, I don't know what the
Spent a lot of
exact
money.
amount.
You spent a lot of money
A lot
on
of-
that floor, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Within these past few weeks, and the conditions of outside with the
Mhm.
drainage work and the salt and everything else. I mean, the guys are cleaning their feet the best they can on the rugs.
I understand,
but
but it's
Yeah.
hard.
Wear boots with lugs,
Yeah,
and it's
So it's still an issue there.
a big issue.
yes, but it
Should
is
we-
being addressed,
Yeah, that's
yes.
what I thought.
Mhm.
Okay.
As part of DMF, when we talk about DMF, because that's where the cleaning comes from.
If you could shoot myself an email, me an email, and I know you're talking to the mayor on this, I just want to make sure it's resolved. I know the rest of the council wants to make sure. It's a very serious issue in my book, and I don't understand how it's taken this long to get it resolved, but there's no reason for it. There's competent companies out there that will come in tomorrow and scrub your floors and wax them and do whatever we need to.
Right.
And the Township of Washington is no different than any other town that gets
Just
this
one thing I
done.
want to, expand upon with that, with the flu and the stomach viruses going around, it's got to get done better.
Correct.
And I'll let it go with that.
I understand. So if you could just keep me in the loop on that with the, I know the mayor will also, but
Yeah.
please.
So one other question, to the, Mike's point with the letter. I don't know, so you're not in the union, you guys are in the union, so
Oh, I'm still in the union, but
I
I'm just
know
not.
you're not with the, so I think I asked you way back when, did we address the concerns of that letter? So that we don't have any.
A lot of it has been addressed,
PBA
yes.
issues, I guess, that comes
I
back.
went over with Mary Ann last week.
Okay. And the PBA, I don't know who the PBA rep is now, is that AJ?
Yeah, it is.
Pecora, Sergeant Pecora?
Him and Sergeant Glock are both
So
co-chairmen.
they, no issues? I mean,
There are still some issues that they're concerned about.
Yeah.
I would invite them, or you guys can invite them to come in and address, the list.
so you can talk to them.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the PBA.
Yeah, we've been trying to get a meeting together, but it's just been scheduling with their shifts and.
Who's the other one, Sergeant Pecora and who?
Sergeant Glock.
I think that the big issues are addressed. In other words, the
Yeah, but
headquarters
what's-
got painted,
you know,
the floor
the
got
chief
done.
said-
Some of the bigger issues, there's more.
Bigger issues, but what's open? What's,
What's open is, you have to maintain what you have now. through
So the
cleaning.
floors need to be cleaned properly, be vacuumed,
Filters have to be changed, air filters, things, maintenance.
I mean, we are, again, we are actively addressing it. I don't know how much I can say legally in this thing, without, but it is being addressed and quickly.
Yeah, I guess the point is to prevent another letter, to have a
Yeah.
conversation, so we don't get.
I don't want to be in front of the Bergen Record again, ever, for ridiculous items of this, of this nature. It's just an embarrassment on everybody, and it's an embarrassment to, the pride we take in having you as our police department, and that we can't show the pride you guys give us, so.
So the 250 is in or out?
250, we said,
Was it
we said okay,
40%?
yes, that was for equipment repairs, correct. Mileage, there was none requested, 240, 280, so is everybody okay with that? Copier expense, 2,500 was requested and 1,800, and that was the new lease that I guess Mary Ann worked on, so we're reducing that.
I don't know if it's new or whatever,
Okay,
but
the
she
new
did
lease
the
is-
calculation.
Okay, so everybody okay with 240, 290?
Yep.
Furniture and equipment,
That's the file cabinet.
is is there anything else, Chief, that, other than this file cabinet? Because it seems like there's a lot of
Well,
old stuff down there.
I'm gonna need new dispatch chairs, because they're kind of shot.
Mr. Mayor, are we going to do a bulk chair
We
purchase for
certainly
the
are.
entire building?
Certainly.
Up here.
I mean,
Chief, we're doing we've
Yes.
been discussing this at previous council meetings.
Yeah.
We're going to do a bulk purchase of chairs for the building.
the last
Yeah.
chairs I got for the radio room was about 4 years ago under the previous chief, and they were 24-hour heavy-duty chairs.
Correct.
They were only guaranteed for 4 years, and like everything
4 years
else,
is up.
4 years are up.
All right, so
Yes.
we'll make sure Mary Ann's aware that he.
Yeah, we're gonna go through the whole building, every
Any other
department.
offices that need chairs,
Right.
we'll put it into that bulk order, hopefully.
Correct.
Is the Trax computer, the color printer associated
We
with
got a
it?
brand-new printer.
You did get it?
Yes.
Okay.
So on furniture and equipment, we're okay if you get the one new file cabinet for now with the
the
bulk
chairs.
order of chairs for the whole department. We're
Plus,
looking.
Marion told me there's new file cabinets upstairs on the 3rd floor that are not being used.
Okay.
Yeah, they
She's
might
gonna
be
make-
shuffling some around
She's gonna
between
make
departments.
arrangements, I get
Okay.
some of those
Yeah, help
cabinets.
yourself.
So we're going to leave 240, 300 is okay, gentlemen?
Yep.
Yeah, so one question,
Get some of those file cabinets from the 1033 program. There's plenty of them.
Yeah, I think that may eventually be an option, but as we discussed, Steve, I don't know if you want to pay me to go to Pennsylvania to get those filing cabinets. It may be cost-effective to buy them, but we can certainly look into it, yeah.
Well, if they're upstairs and we need to buy them, let's
And I
just,
think if we bulk them,
Yo, sure.
send it, send one of our officers with a DPW guy in a big truck if they're even, I haven't seen filing cabinets yet, but I'm sure they're out there.
could we, if,
investigate
if,
all the
if
goodies.
we're investigating this, maybe we can ask our surrounding towns to chip in, and if they need file cabinets, or we can't because it's only for us.
I think we can like do it.
Well,
Only do it
yeah,
for
for
us.
1033, it would be just
Okay,
us.
all right.
but, yeah.
Maybe someone
Strike
can
that.
run out there for multiple towns and
Yeah.
do a bulk
Correct.
thing.
So advertising,
I'm sorry, I just want to go back for 1 minute. So your lunchroom, last time I was there, you mean, table and chairs.
There's
You
a
got new stuff?
table I got donated from the library that was only a couple of years old with chairs.
Okay.
so that's in better shape than it was?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like brand
And
new.
then just one other thing is when I was there last time, when you and I spoke, I was downstairs looking at a room that you wanted to
I got
convert. to
I got a
something.
table and chairs in there. Lieutenant Skinner and Calamari are working with a company getting a quote for the camera system that will tie in to my current camera system for the cars, which
That's an interview room.
will be the interview room.
Yeah.
The interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And-
that's another thing that's mandated by the
Yep,
Attorney
okay.
General.
I just want to make sure.
And the cost for that, Bob, are in the capital part.
Okay. 24310, it's going to get charged to, advertising, going to charge to admin, so that's being eliminated. Everybody okay with that? 24310? Interpreters, calibration, 2,000 was requested, 2,000 was recommended. Is everybody okay with 24320?
What is it?
Interpreters and
That's
calibrators.
the car calibrations. Guy comes in every other month, calibrates the cars, certifies that the speedometers are accurate, so we can write radar tickets. And the interpretation is when we get a individual doesn't speak English. We call the AT&T Language Line, which is the company we're dealing with, and there's thousands of different languages they cover, and that's how it's spaced out.
Okay.
Chief, I just had a question. Is there another line for like the detailing of the cars and stuff that I'm missing? Or
It's
that?
car washes, there is somewhere.
Okay, all right, I didn't see it, okay. So everybody's okay with interpreters, 243.20, 243.60 for radio expense, 4,000 was requested, 4,000 is being recommended. Everybody okay with that?
Okay.
This car stuff?
I have a question. We had a meeting, I believe you attended, Chief,
July,
about
radios.
radios, and the fire department was represented. I'm assuming this is run the engine, this has nothing to do with...
No, that would have to come on the capital or
Michael,
maybe have to
that's
be
in
bonding.
capital also to
Okay.
get the study going.
Okay. The other question there is, on the letter, there was a discussion about radio maintenance. I just don't know if that's been...
That would be the microphones and antennas. I got
Yeah, the antennas were no good.
everybody brand new antennas, and I got 15 spare microphones.
Perfect.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, you're doing good.
243.70 training, 5,000 was requested, 5,000's been recommended, and that's an estimate based on $250 per officer.
Correct.
That makes sense? Everybody
Yes.
okay with that? Chief's uniform allowance, it's per his contract. Is everybody okay with that?
Can we just back up?
Oh, sure. Mike.
Where was this previously?
Which one was that?
Training? I'm
There's
assuming
some-
we did training.
Training usually came out of the overtime budget,
Okay.
okay? I'm sending an officer to firearms instructor school. It's not a free class, it's $500. So that's where one of the trainings will come out of.
Okay.
There's rifle classes for instructors. They're not offered free. I mean,
No, it just,
a lot
Is
of
the
courses-
250 an average, Chief, then?
Yeah. I mean, not everybody's gonna use it, but what I'm saying is there's classes where I have to send guys to become instructors that even though they're being hosted at one of the academies, but what the academies do, they subcontract out to another company, a private company, to do the instruction. And they have to be paid.
and that's fine, I didn't know where it was historically, because last year it was 45.
Yeah, in other words, if the guy's salary, if he's doing it on overtime, would come out of the overtime budget.
Okay.
Can I also say, I think the department's been somewhat held back in training. And so we're
Tremendously.
looking to change that.
Without getting too into it, we were previously told that
Yeah.
if the training costs money, don't send the guys to it. So what we're trying to do is catch up on some training. Most of the training.
That's
that
why
we
I was
do-
asking, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Lieutenant Scott, is 250 enough? That's why I was asking, because you had just said the one class is 500, so
Yeah.
based on her.
But not everybody's gonna go to.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure there was enough budgeted there. If there was more needed, we'd like, we should talk about adding more to it.
I think we're hoping to spend that and then maybe increase it.
Yeah, I
Next year?
think that's what we said.
it's a
Yeah, we'd
good
use
start
this
for
as a
now.
It's a good
baseline
start. Okay, I just want to make
and
sure
see
this is
how
a
it
good
goes.
base, that we're not shortchanging ourselves, Chief, that, because I know you are behind in training, so not.
I don't wanna put too much,
But that's a good
try,
start, I guess, is what.
see where we go this year, and next year we gotta boost it, we can boost it by 25 and see where we go.
Okay, you okay with
Do
that,
you
Mr.
want to
Ullman?
compare towns or?
Yeah, I'm fine, I mean, if we want to start a baseline.
Can we review maybe Westwood's or?
Westwood's
Just,
80, it's 8,000 and change, I know Hillsdale does 10,000.
Right, Westwood's training budget last year, or what they budgeted, I guess, for this year was 8,800. Hillsdale's was 10,000.
How big, what's the different size of the departments? I don't
Same
know.
size.
Same exact.
Westwood's a little bigger than we
Little
are,
bigger.
actually,
Guys, that's-
and Hillsdale's is, I think they're same size as us.
Same
about.
size.
And they were at 10,000.
Yeah, Westwood's number was a little higher than 250. I think they were at about 400 per officer. A lot of the training that we get does cost money now. A lot of stuff used to be given at the police academy. They've reduced a lot of the training that the Bergen County Police Academy offers, so now you have private firms that offer the training. You still go to the police academy to take the training, but you have to pay the firm that offers the class. One of the things that I know we want to do is send some of our sergeants to a supervisory class, which in the past, because it cost money, wasn't
So
really.
to me, I would
You go
propose,
75?
based on this discussion, I would
75.
recommend that we do, 7,500 as a start.
Yep.
I mean, why
Everybody okay with it?
handcuff us to this?
243.70, make it 7,500, Mr. Bruno, you okay with that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure we're not handcuffing ourselves, so. Oh, I didn't even know what I said. I did. Moving on, Chief.
Familiar, huh?
Yeah. No, I haven't, I never had them. I better knock on wood, I may leave tonight. Chief's uniform allowance, $243.90, it's per contract, everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Moving on, safety equipment and uniforms, $244.00. 3,000 was recommended, 3,000 was requested, is everybody okay with that?
Chief?
Is that enough to do the job?
So who gives you,
Well, let's put it, if, right now, my new dispatcher, his uniforms come out of that. Another new dispatcher, his uniforms come out of that.
Crossing guards.
Crossing guards come out of that. If we do some SLEOs, their uniforms and equipment comes out of that. I mean, I didn't budget for SLEOs, obviously, if we're gonna do something like that.
So maybe we should look at that.
I mean, we could.
Why don't we discuss that and closed with the other,
Okay.
if that's okay? So we'll hold 244.00, we'll put on, we'll flag that for now. If everybody's okay with that, and that'll be part of the closed session discussion.
Where are your gas masks? Didn't we talk about that?
Isn't that oxygen and fire? No, that's,
Old ones or something?
Gas masks come under,
I don't know, I thought we
come
looked
out
at that.
under active shooter equipment, which is to be discussed in
okay.
240,
One question. So when I live over by the flashing lights, and every once in a while, on a fairly regular basis, there are accidents over there, and I always see the police are there first, grabbing like their medic kit. Does that come out of here, and do you have those, is there a budget to keep all of that stuff covered?
The oxygen comes out of the next line, for
So
oxygen and
the
stuff.
oxygen, what about?
First aid
bandage?
equipment,
Yes.
bandage would come out of that probably too, safety equipment.
So,
I get a lot of it from the ambulance corps, but I can't get everything.
so I guess, I would just say, do we,
It's good negotiations, I guess.
The other problem
No,
you got,
just-
you gotta think
it
about
gets it
too
from the
is when
ambulance corps, they probably get it from somebody else, and, okay.
is when we get to use the defibrillators, the pads can only use once. And then the pads also have an expiration date on them.
so, again, it's here.
That's where all that comes out of that item.
Okay. So if 3,000 is enough, it's enough. If it's not, I think we should, when we're having these discussions and
Speak now.
everyone's at the table.
well, we said we were going to flag that, Mike, till with the other item that we flagged
Okay.
for,
That's the uniforms.
so we're going to do special officers and safety equipment and uniforms as a closed session discussion, so we can discuss that.
Okay.
Oxygen and fire extinguishers, 244.10.
I mean, as you can see, last year was kind of, that's another thing, you just don't know.
Know how much you're going to use.
I mean, we've used quite a bit of oxygen this year. It's been a bad year. And fire extinguishers, well, we're lucky we only used a few of them so far.
But you
So
never
it's another
can-
thing, you never can tell how much you're really gonna use.
Would you feel more comfortable with the 1,500?
Oh, yeah, 15, yeah, 20 for 15. What-
Yeah, we dropped it to 1,000 just based on most of
Prior.
the prior years. But if you think you're already going through it at a quick rate,
I mean, I just did another rec for the O2 company today.
You'd recommend going to 15, is that your recommendation?
well,
What's supposed to know?
in light of what the chief is saying, yes.
So the mayor's asked 244.10 to meet the chief's request of 1,500. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Please.
Equipment maintenance and license, 244.50. 3,500 was requested, 3,500 was recommended. It's,
What is licenses?
That's for my.
Info- it says info cop?
Info cop. I gotta pay a site license for the car computers and for the
Okay.
3 licenses that are inside headquarters here.
so is everybody okay with 244.50?
So it's software.
Yes.
Printing, 244.70, 250 was requested, 250 was recommended. Last year, they did approximately $173, so everybody okay with that? Okay. Moving on, other equipment, 244.90, 200 was requested, 200 was recommended. What is other equipment, chief?
I already spent that already.
That's why I was trying to get a feeling of what other equipment was, and maybe we should increase it since you've already answered my question. So.
That's basically anything that doesn't fit into any other category within the department.
Do you remember what you spent it on this year so far? If you say it's already spent, just to
I
give us
gotta
an
go
idea.
get the requisition I did
Well,
before.
what put a red flag on me was in 2016, somebody bumped that budget
I
up to
have no idea, and if you-
14,500.
but if you notice-
14,500. You've never spent more than $100.
Yeah, but if you notice that year, it was
67 was the lowest ever, but you had the biggest budget,
Yeah,
so I
but
don't
and I
understand
went
why.
back and looked at my budget for that year, I put it for $200.
Okay, so
So
it
I-
just might be
I-
a
Typo or something.
I have no idea where it came from.
Okay.
You know,
Could be a typo. I know it's not-
What about your armored shields and the trunks?
That's-
Where's that? Is that equipment?
that's,
I think that's in capital under
that's
the
on the
active shooter.
capital, but that's also for a closed session.
Okay, gotcha.
And the
So-
officer involved with that is not here because he had a prior commitment tonight.
Okay.
Sergeant of the Corps.
So 244.90, 200, and 200, everybody okay with that?
Well,
Okay,
Chief, do you
so-
think you need more based on, you think you already used the 200?
I spent that, I forget exactly what I spent it on. I don't have the record in front of me, but,
And do you want to up it to 500?
500.
Everybody okay with increasing 244.90 to 500?
That's fine.
240,500 miscellaneous, based on actual,
Just the car wash, there's a lot of detailing.
this is miscellaneous you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
240,500, right, chief? I think this is.
miscellaneous
I think it's all your
is
car
basically
washes.
everything. There's another one, that's not classified. The car washes do come out of that.
Mostly all.
But I had read somewhere that, you know, the interior of the car, some of them need to be cleaned, and, you know, so we should look into those costs of getting the cars detailed.
The current
properly.
schedule is twice a month, and it ideally should be on a once-a-week basis, which is what we had
We
going
used
back
to
a
do it
number of
once a
years.
week, then we
Yeah.
got told we can only do it.
And what year was that stopped, so we could look at the budget for that? Is that up before 2013? When was that?
That was around 2011, that the washing frequency tapered
Yeah.
off.
I know that's one of the concerns raised by the PBA, that the cars aren't being detailed and kept cleanliness.
Some of the
It's a simple matter
some
of
the-
frequency.
Some of the cars are almost occupied 24/7, you know, and with, you know, the current flu season, if we could get those cleaned once a week, that would be, I think, beneficial to all.
Do they need something over and above that type of cleaning? I mean, if there's
What we do,
blood or bodily fluids in the back.
Yeah, we've had instances where cars have been sent out and the car wash will do like a disinfectant cleaning. That's more of a case-by-case basis. I mean, the good thing about the interior of the car is, you know, it doesn't have carpet, it's rubber. The back seat is a self-contained plastic seat, so if somebody was to soil that seat, it's kind of an easier cleanup, you know, it's not soaking in. But generally, like, let's say, for example, we've had an instance where, you know, we have a party under arrest and we find them to have body lice or scabies, then we'll send the car out for like a full cleaning.
we've had used Surf Pro in the past to clean cars.
So I guess the question would be, based on the PBA's, you know, list that was given to us, that was given to the council last year, is if we should go back to weekly.
I would like to see at least the main patrol cars cleaned once a month, the unmarked cars.
Once a week, you mean?
Detective
Once a
John-
week or once a month?
No, once a week, rather. The unmarked car that myself and, you know, Lieutenant Karen, you know, Calamari drive, every other week is fine for us, because we're the only two that really drive the cars.
Can we, gentlemen, can we flag this and have the police department get back to us? Lieutenant Calamari, if you can get us the costs for the previous years, and maybe we can review that with the mayor, and we'll go from there. Is that okay with you? Mr. Mayor?
Fine, yes.
There would,
When you said Mr. Calamari, I wasn't
I'm
sure which one you were
sorry.
referring to.
That's why I said mayor, but that's all right.
Mike, just to let you know also that that number is going to vary because at one time, former councilman was paying to have the car, he took care of cleaning the cars on his,
Well,
at his
it's
own
fine.
expense.
Well, let's figure
So
out.
I'm saying, as
well,
I
let's
go
figure
back,
out,
if I look at the numbers.
If we're doing it
that-
twice a month and we double it from last, if we did twice a month last year, and we're gonna go up to 4 times a month this year, if we double last year's
Well,
number or whatever it
If you want to
is.
look at it, the car wash is getting us $10 a wash.
Okay.
They're giving us a,
Can we pick
discount.
that out?
So how many cars are we sending every week?
If you want to, the 5 main patrol cars, and then the other cars that are used for details can be done every other week. I got, I got eight black and whites.
You'd almost double it. Just come up with a number, I mean.
Yeah, you wanna make it 5,000? You think that would work if we made it 5,000? That would get you washing every week and cleaning the inside every week, and at least we'd address a comment from the past.
I think, yeah, because that would
that-
be just
would that-
about double of what we
Of what we
had.
did, yeah. Because last year you did 2,200, last year we did 2,200, so if we made it 5,000, that would include a couple, if we had to send them to,
$10 each.
So last year, just so I understand.
we did 2,167.
Yeah, but there was a repair for a DVR car 44, which probably should have been in repair somewhere. I don't know what that is. It says repair for a DVR car number 44 was $1,200.
But that was the camera system.
So do we have any of that, any of the other cars? Because this probably
That
should be
comes
in
on the
repairs.
cameras, under the
Yeah, so
video.
this should be in a different number.
That happened to come out on the miscellaneous, because the camera budget.
Was spent probably.
I bought a new camera that year for one of the cars,
Okay,
so we took it out of, one of those where it goes into miscellaneous.
okay.
Can we, if, Mr. Mayor, would you be amenable to making that 5,000 so they can have the cars cleaned every week?
Is that what you're requesting, Chief?
Yes.
Okay, yes, then I would go along with it.
Thank you. Everybody okay with 240,500 becoming $5,000?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just be aware that, if something comes up where I need extra money, that's where it would come from also.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
you'd
like
be
the-
okay with
Just
that.
like the camera repair.
Yeah.
That was something that wasn't covered under the warranty, and
You had to get it
I had to get
repaired.
it done, because I'm mandated to have the cameras in the car.
Okay.
You should be okay with that.
Guns and ammunition, mandatory weapons, rifles, quals, prices are increasing, so what was requested, what,
I put in for 12 and
Yeah, and-
the mayor, it's
everybody okay with that?
12.
240, 540?
Have enough ammo.
Is that what you need?
Yes.
Okay. Traffic light maintenance and repair, Pascack and Washington. So we budgeted, last year we budgeted 7, we spent 31. You requested 7 again, and 7 was recommended.
That's the traffic light at Pascack and Washington.
So you're trying to hit a bullseye that you don't know
That
what.
control box is so old, there's no parts for it. The last time it ended up having a problem, Allen Albright, which is the company that does the repairs, scoured the entire country.
They found
Took
the
them-
They were in the traffic light
Took
hall
him,
of
took him a
fame.
while to find the parts, but he got the parts, and it's getting harder and harder to find parts for this thing. It's just not made anymore.
Last year, we had we had the 36 LED solar-powered stop signs. Is this up there?
That's where that money came from, to buy those.
That was up there, right? Washington and Van Amberg?
So is everybody okay? Hopefully, we'll have a new traffic signal in the future, and we won't have to budget this ridiculous amount.
House custom might that be?
We're trying.
Yep, yep.
Everybody okay with 245.50?
Yes.
Other equipment rental, 250 was requested, 250 was recommended for 245.60. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Range rental fees, 000. I guess that should be something we
That's a
delete.
separate line item.
Okay.
We used this line item when we used to go to Park Ridge. Now we're using the Paramus range. So it falls under this line item over here later on.
Okay. Computer software,
If we could, I'd like to probably increase that after talking with my executive staff. There's some programs that I would like to get this year. One's a new scheduling program. Right now, the program we have dates back 12, 14 years. It's antiquated.
the scheduling program will save you a lot of money.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thousands and thousands.
Do we have a cost for that, Chief?
No, I don't. I would have to.
So we want to flag this item, 24810,
Yeah, I would
and come
have
back
to
to
do
it?
some research on it and talk to a couple of departments that have various scheduling programs.
Yeah, look, I talked to the guys down at the league, and they said they've cut forces scheduling by almost 15% at times, which is a huge number.
All right, so let's,
Proper schedule.
yeah, so let's flag 24810 until the chief and the department gets back to us with new numbers, and then we'll review it again, Mr. Mayor, if that's
Yeah,
okay?
that's
I know we
fine.
very briefly looked at other scheduling programs without any, we don't even know any idea what they cost, but I think you're right. I think the scheduling program is gonna do other things for you other than scheduling.
Oh, yes, it's a whole.
It's a whole
that's just
comprehensive
one
system.
factor that
Right.
it does. It does a lot of different.
It's almost a personnel management
Yeah.
system.
You know,
Yeah.
I need to cover X on this day, and it comes up, you put all your personal.
It generates
system,
it's a
it
generator,
generates
like,
everything.
Up to the
Reports,
point where,
statistics, data, yeah.
as soon as you change a guy's shift, he gets an email that his shift has been changed, and everything's
Right.
followed up, accountability, yeah,
Okay.
it's some great
So,
stuff.
so
out
let's flag that and come back to it, Mr. Mayor, and once we.
Yeah, we'll wait on the chief to
Okay.
get the number. Yeah.
Computer supplies, 240-820, 1,500 was requested, 2,000 was recommended. That was based on the 2017 actual.
Yes, however, we got an updated quote from the computer supplier since this came out, and so the actual will be 5,800.
For computer supplies.
What is it?
Well, that's what
It's
that's
computer
what-
really computer maintenance, but, for them to maintain all the computers, it's a full-service thing for the police department.
So this becomes
This guy-
5,800?
Yes, please.
What it amounts to is a service contract, correct?
Yeah, basically, it's a service.
Which you've never had before, I guess.
Correct.
No.
You looked at it, Peter?
Yes, I did, yes.
And it's what we need for that department?
Exactly.
Okay.
yeah.
So we're plus 38 on that?
Yes, plus 3,800.
I mean, we're just waiting for the vendor to agree to it, but in principle, we agreed.
Okay. So for 24820, we're going to make that 5,800?
5,800.
Correct, all right. 241,000, vehicle leasing, 6,100 was requested, 4,656 was recommended.
Yeah, Marion did the exact
Mary Ann did
calculation.
Mary Ann did the exact calculations per the month lease.
That's for the detective in my car.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Everybody okay with that for 24100? Okay, telephone maintenance contract, that's the actual number. 7,000 was requested, 5985.60 was recommended, which is the actual
Yeah,
amount.
yes.
So is everybody okay with 242,000?
Yes.
Dispatch desk software licenses. It says 14 was requested, 14 was recommended. It's prosecutors, Mars fee, 911 KLM.
Correct. That's
If you
the,
could just elaborate on what that means.
okay, since Bergen County Prosecutor's Office runs the computers for the entire county, everything gets funneled into their system. They charge a flat rate of $6,000 for their computer system down there. It's been that same rate for the past 8, 9 years. They haven't raised their rates. So that's what's called the Mars Agreement.
Okay.
They funnel into all the security for the state systems. Infocop runs through there, NCIC, everything runs through the county system. The KML, that's the 911 computer system in there.
Okay.
Obviously, that's got to have a maintenance agreement on it, otherwise the company will not come if something should happen.
Okay. So is everybody okay with 243,000?
Yes.
Community policing website, 244,000. So we want to, I guess the note for that is would like to do more activities, National Night Out, more Junior Police Academy events, and reach out to residents. So 2,500 was requested, 2,500 was recommended. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Is the gentleman still maintaining on his host?
Right, Joe is currently maintaining our website.
Yeah.
There's one thing I have to look at is our email accounts. Joe's currently
Would they-
hosting that for us right now.
Would they become part of our email account, Mr. Mayor, when we go to the Office 365?
I don't know if there's any special security on police emails or anything, so I would defer to you and Mary Ann to
Can we
jointly answer
look at
that.
that, Chief? Because I guess the rest of the administration of the building is going to go to Office 365 on our new vendor's recommendation. So maybe if we could look into getting you a new platform also, which would give you more
Well,
functionality.
The gentleman who redid our webpage recommended us go to a Gmail, a commercial Gmail account, where we would maintain all our current email addresses, which would be, it's our initials at washingtonpolice.org. And he would do the hosting, and he would, we would pay him for the hosting.
Okay, so we want to just review it, 'cause the rest of the building is
Is
going to go
this
to.
outside of what DART does?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on a different platform.
I think this is a community policing issue that, we kind of threw the website in there if we needed to do, I guess, paid additional updates. But as far as the email, we have a free email system now that's hosted, and because it's free, we do get a little bit of spam in there. So his recommendation was to go to a Gmail corporate account. He would essentially host it for us for free. It is $5 a year per email address, so we would just pay him that. In other words, he would do it for a cost.
Okay.
But my question would be, if we went to
Why
a
don't we
town
look at,
email
why don't we look at
system,
what the town is doing, the rest of the building, maybe.
can we keep our own email addresses? In other words,
That's
generally,
something
you
we have
can,
to ask.
it's
Yeah,
usually
under the
not a
same
hard thing to
domain.
do.
Yeah.
Same domain.
We have to find out, because the Gmail commercial, we disseminate criminal justice information through our emails. We would just have to confirm that the town emails meets a certain
what I
level of
said would have
security.
to defer.
Yeah, I'm not
I'd
saying we have,
defer.
I think we should
Because
investigate it.
The
We should
Gmail I know
investigate it,
does, we can look into that, because the state police mandate a
Tell you,
certain level.
If it's something that other towns are using, I would say less towns now have a separate email. Initially, police departments always had their own emails because of the security. Now that security is caught up, like a lot of police officers' email addresses that I send out now are dot to the
Township.
town. So it's probably something we could do, I think.
But let's, I just want.
I'll follow up on that.
Maybe there's a savings of, a savings there. because-
Security is the main issue.
Right,
because
yeah.
I don't know what
Correct.
server they're hosting on. I know the
If
guy-
I could
the guy
just
has it somewhere, but-
speak on this item quick for the community policing. We had two new initiatives this year. Chief told me I could actually spend money on community policing this year, which made me happy. So we're looking at the Coffee with a Cop program. We have run one. We plan to run two more. The expenses of that are mostly promotional items, some posters and some stuff we would put up. Also, we're looking at the cop card program, which is like a police officer trading card program.
Little kids love that.
Yeah, it's about $100 per officer, so about $1,800. We are getting some donation to that. I just wanted to be clear that because there's $2,500 in the budget, we decided not to do National Night Out this year. We decided to go with these other two programs. National Night Out is a great program, and we would have kind of done it cooperatively with Westwood. But to do the two new programs, we couldn't also do National Night Out. We felt that National Night Out, from our point of view, sometimes is tough to book resources because everybody runs it the same night. So there's 300 requests for the K-9, there's 300 requests, so we figured pull back off National Night Out, and then we would get the K-9, say, in the helicopter when we do our town day or one of those.
That's a good idea.
Just wanted to let you know, we're probably not gonna do National Night Out unless we want to put additional money in and say, yeah, we'll do that too. Westwood had budgeted $3,000 just for National Night Out. So,
So you, police have a $26,000 reserve somewhere sitting on the balance sheet? Trust me on that?
I believe.
I don't know where it is, Mike has the book, but there's a police reserve. I'm pretty sure it's 26,000, maybe it's 2,600, I think it's 26,000. But let us look at that, because I don't think it's done anything. You might have used piddly stuff from it, so if you
I
want
didn't
to
even
do
notice this,
activity.
I didn't even notice
Yeah,
that.
it's on the balance sheet somewhere. It's in trust or reserves, but anyway, let us look at that and then.
Could that have been from the car accident a couple of years ago?
No,
No, that's it under an insurance
I
thing
have no idea
somewhere.
where these things come from, they were just hung up there for, so.
maybe the monitors that we're looking for, I don't know if that's a separate line item.
Which one?
Monitors, in other words.
No, this has been sitting there forever. I think it's 26,000, but
Right, get back to it.
it's in reserves, Mike, I think in the back. But at any
You mean
rate, so let's
monitors for
look at
all
that
guests?
and we'll let you know what's there.
Somebody
Yeah, I'd
does?
rather the chief.
So we're gonna
So
flag
one
this
thing
one?
I know I was looking for is, well, about 3 weeks ago, we had the high school come in, or I should say the school system come in, and we can now observe the outside cameras at the schools. We're not allowed to look at the inside cameras because that's considered a student record. However, we don't have a monitor in the desk area. What we'd like to do is purchase a larger monitor. I was under the understanding that there was some money left in one of your line items where you're going to buy some computer stuff for upstairs, and then when that was done, we can get a monitor. But if there's a way we can get a large monitor, 36-inch or even like a 40, 50-inch monitor, and then that would allow us to view the outside of the schools all day long. We would only then switch over to view the inside of the schools according to the school's policy in an emergency, but if we can get
So this
that
is ready to
monitor-
go, but we don't have a monitor?
Right.
And how much does this monitor cost?
I don't know, to be honest
We're
with you.
talking thousands?
You're talking a 36-inch TV.
Oh, so $300?
Yeah, $300,
Mr. Mayor,
$400.
can we find a way to buy this monitor?
Yeah, as I had mentioned to them, I think there's going to be a little extra money in our computer upgrade for the rest of Town Hall, and we would just take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not on my personal.
No. We'll discuss the school stuff, closed.
Okay, and I guess if, let's get this monitor, the mayor said there might be money left over.
Yeah, there
in the
will be.
computer budget.
Yeah.
So let's figure out exactly what monitor we got.
Just
Get it.
got one from ShopRite for $321.
I'll go buy it tonight if we want.
We'll go get it.
We'll go
We have
get
a
it.
contact.
So, let's get this monitor, because it's something we need to get onto that camera system.
I gave you the 50-inch plasma, you thought you wouldn't be able to lift it to put it up. Okay,
I know what that is.
So it's 26,000. I don't know what you're gonna do with it.
That's the donation account for the department. In other words,
I mean, I don't know what it's used for, I'm just saying. it's
police
sitting-
donation is used,
Police department donation.
that was part of it, there was the motorcycle was donated, there was monies donated for that. When people send in
So,
donations to the department, that's where that goes.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know we,
Strictly the donations.
when, the motorcycle, we wrote a grant and we leased it. And then when we bought it off lease, I thought at that time the town was gonna cover the purchase price. Then we found out it wasn't gonna be covered a few years ago. So we ran a fundraiser, and some local businesses kicked in, and we actually raised more money than we needed for the motorcycle. So we put it, I think, into that reserve account.
Well, it's
So
26,000.
That's what it is, okay.
Police
now-
donations,
Now
so-
now I know what you're talking about.
Whatever it is, it's there.
All right, well, I guess this issue for the monitor for the school TVs, let's get this, I mean.
yeah, we'll get a
in,
requisition out right away.
Yeah.
Can't talk about that in public.
Correct, all right. Vehicle acquisitions, 92,000 was requested, 92,000 was recommended. It's based on, I guess, the two cars, Chief?
Correct, I need 2 new cars for this coming.
In 2017, in
Well,
2018, excuse me, 2018.
There'll be 2019s, obviously, by the time we order them. Yeah, because when we order them, we'll order them in July. So hopefully,
October?
October, November, somewhere's around there. This year, there was.
Do we know what kind of cars we're getting yet?
Same
or-
ones that are out there, the Ford
Okay,
Explorers.
the Ford Explorer.
They get fully equipped, so when they go up to the installers, we're dropping the cameras in, and we're gonna drop in the radios, which we have them ready.
Okay, so it's just a transfer from.
Yeah, but the equipment, was the lights, the cages, consoles, all the emergency stuff, it's already in the car, it's all part of a package deal.
From Ford.
Do we sell the old ones or anything? What do we do with them?
Well,
You're
the
gonna
one-
retire too,
Well, the
right?
Crown Vics, the one Crown Vic is gonna be sold. None of that equipment's worth anything anymore. One of the other Explorers is gonna be relegated to the back of the fleet to be used for details, road work, stuff like
Okay.
that. But I'll leave all the equipment in the car, because if I need the car, it's fully equipped.
Yeah, no reason to strip it. 'cause-
No.
So is everybody okay with the two purchase price for the vehicles, gentlemen? For
Just, is there-
245,000?
Is there a need to have a larger vehicle than those Explorers?
We looked at the Ford Tauruses, but the Ford Taurus, the regular, sedan, don't fit our needs. Time you put all the equipment in the cars, then it's just no room for anybody in the car. The Explorers are working out fine.
Nothing up from an Explorer?
I mean, next thing up is
Like a
either an
Tahoe.
Expedition or a Tahoe.
Chevy Tahoe would be the next.
But,
step up.
It's like the state police ones.
I mean, you're not running the highway.
Okay, I'm
I
just
mean,
throwing it out there.
the Explorers are working fine.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody okay with 245,000?
Yeah, delay it as long as you can, though. Okay.
Car-
And do we have a schedule projection of retirements,
As far as
the
the
vehicles?
cars, we usually keep them on the front line 2 to 3 years. Then they get relegated to the back of the fleet and rotate them out that way. So usually the two oldest cars out there now, the Explorers, are 2013s. So
And they start to get tired of that. But it'd be nice to get on
They
a
become-
two-car a year.
So I guess that's my question, because last year we bought one, it looks like the year before we bought one. In 15, that's
we bought
probably
two.
two.
we bought 2 in 15, but one got destroyed within 2 weeks, and that car was never replaced.
Okay, so,
We never got, we got an insurance claim but never got it replaced?
Yes, sir.
so I'm fine with this, but.
Don't ask.
I know the answer to the question, I won't
Could
ask.
you prepare for the administration and for the council,
Never bought a
just
new car.
when it went into service and when it's planned to be replaced for the current fleet, so we know prospectively what we're looking at?
Yeah.
You know, and if it's gonna be 2 a year, you know, perhaps that's what it should be.
We used to have two cars a year.
Okay.
Until a certain event occurred.
2011.
So going forward, it seems like that's the number it would be, is 2 new purchases per year to keep the fleet correct.
And, you always relegate, one of the cars to the road department.
Yes, I guess they have one of the Explorers, right?
Yeah, the best, of what's out there, in the back of the fleet.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely get life out of the cars, right? After they go to detail cars, then a lot of times they go to the road department. And then, if not, they're sold on gov deals, but by
I
then
think
they're
that's
pretty
to the
well.
point they become a giant money
pretty
pit.
well done.
Yeah, because you're just putting money in, yeah. So everybody okay with 92 for 245,000? Car cameras, 4,000 was requested, 4,000 was recommended. This includes the service contracts for car video system and the file server.
Basically, that is the entire contract almost. I haven't got the new contract for this year yet, that comes out in May. So I'm figuring a 10% increase.
So that puts us right. So
Roughly,
4,000 will
it
give
might-
us a
might
little
be-
cushion.
Yeah, it might be a little less, but I'm figuring 10% into that.
Okay, is everybody okay with 245,001? Yes. Computer software leasing, Enforces contract, 14,000 was requested and 14,000 was recommended. The Enforces contract is what, Chief?
That is the records management system
Okay.
for the department.
Now,
I guess it went up.
not for nothing, it's been 11,250 for 4 years. Is it going up or?
We negotiated a price for a 4-year lock-in.
Oh,
And this, I just did the.
It's due to go up, yeah.
okay.
It's due to go up. So we negotiated a deal with them. And they
That
were-
should be contractual then, right?
So this will be 14,000 for the next 4 years?
Well, I don't know what it's gonna be.
But it's gonna go up. Your
Right.
contract.
Said it comes out in May.
Oh, it's gonna be, I got you. Okay.
In other words, when we did it 4 years ago.
And it was that number?
We asked them, could you lock in that rate? And they were gracious enough to do it for us.
So now we're gonna lock in hopefully to a new rate that's a little bit more than, yeah.
And I mean, I know they're rolling out a brand-new platform. We're scheduled to get it within the next month with numerous updates and everything else, so.
Okay.
With the software update, are we gonna have to do hardware updates?
No. We
Okay.
did that about a year and a half ago.
Okay,
246,000, everybody okay with the 14,000?
yes.
Range rental, 10,000 was requested, 10,000 was recommended.
Okay.
Minor price increase, more mandatory training.
Correct.
So 248,000.
That's with Paramus?
Paramus and North Arlington. Paramus went up $50 a day. North Arlington has stayed the same. We used the North Arlington range for our long gun qualifications because I need a 100-yard range. Plus, I can't shoot the long guns inside Paramus's range.
Everybody okay with 248,000?
Too small or just noise?
Too powerful.
Too powerful, too, yeah, their system.
Okay.
Okay, everybody okay with 248? Reverse 911 system, Swift Reach, 3,500 was requested, 3,500 was budgeted, recommended, excuse me. Everybody okay with 250, 100?
Believe it or not, I just did the rec on that and it stayed at the $29.95.
All right, so we want to make that $29.95 then?
You want to make it an
Or
even
3,000, make it 3,000, everybody? So we'll lower it by 500, minus 500?
Do we have
Every
a,
day.
is there a majority, like if you were to, it's by residence, right? This 911 reverse, by house? Or is
Could
it,
be house, could be cell phone,
cell phone too?
whatever you
It's-
register. with
Yeah,
the
it's based on
company.
registrations. yeah.
Do you feel that we've got a majority of our residents registered?
In building, we always want more.
Yeah.
And the more we can get it out there to the residents' attention, advertising, the more we can do something.
In the flyer that went out, what was it, the Citizen, that Janet had put out, in the back page, there was a sign up, and I know I gave Rio a whole bunch of them like 2 weeks ago, and every time they come in, I update the list, and he's been entering, so we are building the base.
When we updated the website, we put a button right on the website.
On yours?
And we have it on
ours,
ours
too,
too.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah,
on
we
the
have it
town
on-
website and it's on the police website.
I think
now.
what we should really look into, maybe not so much, we could look into it this year, budgeted for next year, but it's a program called Nixle.
Yes, Nick.
I subscribe to it, it's fantastic. It's a text-based program.
It's incredible.
It's what,
We have it at work.
there's an accident on Route 17 within 2 minutes, I got it on my phone. And I think it's something the town should look at plus also staying with the, reverse 911.
NIXEL, Nixle?
Nixle, NIXLE. I mean, with this snowstorm over the weekend, I was getting, all these, Dumont, Fairlawn, Paramus, Maywood. It's gonna snow, you can't park your cars in the street tonight. They're telling these people it's gonna snow, so don't park, don't even bother calling.
That's a discussion we have to have.
I mean, Nixle is a very useful tool.
Okay. Do you have, so, not for this
I
year.
would have to look into it, see what it would cost the town. And it's, like I say, it's internet-based and it's all text.
It's all text, you get like, it's great.
You know about it then?
Yeah, we have it at work. I work for state, and they send us an alert saying turnpike's backed up,
Yeah.
major car fire, major accident. It's like, and it just texts you, and you either look at it or you don't. It's great, but it gives you all the updates, like.
It's not the stop all gap, to reverse
No.
911,
But
but as an information thing to get it out to the residents.
So maybe just something we should research this year
I
and
think it's really
put it
fa-
into
I think it's
2019
really
budget?
fantastic. We should look into it.
Okay.
I know a lot of towns like Ramsey and a whole bunch of towns around us have it, because I know, so. Next item, so everybody's okay with 250, 100, moving it to 3,000 for a deduction of 500? You okay with that, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor? Police dispatching, 250, 200, budgeted for 4 full-time with room to convert to 12-hour shifts. 170 was requested, 170 was recommended. Is everybody okay with that?
This we should flag. I just want to talk to Mary and see her calculations.
So you want to flag
Yeah, I
250,
just want to
200?
see who is it and what's the detail and et cetera.
Okay. So, 252, 100, 1,800 was requested, 1,800 was recommended.
What is this?
That's OEM salary and wages.
I have nothing to do with that.
Okay, so we're done with police, okay.
Then we have tires,
Yeah, that's in
tires,
somebody else's
police
budget.
Tires, vehicle repair,
vehicle maintenance, and I got police equipment.
parts.
So the salary and wages is for Coordinator Cicchetti and Deputy Feliciano. So they get a
Correct.
stipend for this?
Correct.
The miscellaneous expense, is that the cots that we want to put downstairs?
That comes under the OEM budget.
Okay.
There was a cot last year, page 59, 750, we paid one cot. You had one cot.
We just got a whole,
Got like 10 of them or
we
so.
got 10 cots, bundle of blankets, change of linens. We got a whole pallet of stuff. It's all upstairs right now in the OEM room. That all came out of the OEM budget.
I had another question regarding the generator outside for emergencies is being exercised.
Yes,
And on
once a week.
Once a week, okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure it's running in.
It's either the captain or myself do it once a week.
Okay. And is it due for maintenance that we have, that we've been?
There's supposed to be a maintenance contract on it.
Okay, but have we called, and,
I
can we look into that?
I think they come on a scheduled basis.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I know
Yeah.
we're a little delinquent sometimes in our
Right.
maintenance, so I just want to make sure
Yeah.
we're up to
They
date
have
on
a
that.
contract and they come on a schedule.
Perfect.
Do they test it under?
Live load, that's what I was going to, my next question, Mr. Cumming, you beat me to it.
That's done.
Academy Electric over in Emerson and does it.
And they've done a
Do they
live,
test it under load?
Yes,
okay, that's good to know.
Once a year? Or something?
they do a quarter.
Yeah, I think quarterly.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah, they can simulate putting it under load and make sure.
The big question is, do we ever go on it?
Oh, yeah, we were on last week.
Okay. And we come off of it okay?
It's transferring perfectly the way it's supposed to,
We're dead, you know, we're.
within 30 seconds.
We're dark for about 10 to 15 seconds.
Oh, it's even better than 30, okay, so.
The more critical computers have backups on it.
You have battery backup.
So there's backups on the radio, backups on the more critical, you know, the 911 system, the file server. So it's
So
seamless for them.
that's seamless, okay.
Yeah.
And my last and final question, I promise, I guess with the recent snowstorms, Saturday night to Sunday, are we finding a lot of parked cars on streets? Because I got some complaints that cars were being left. Have they been ticketed?
Bunch of overnight parking.
Correct. So residents were complaining that the plows had to go around, and then the person basically just drove their car through the snow that got plowed, and then, you know, DMF did an incredible job again, but however, now they got this like barrier in front of the person's house that parked their car there, so did we were a lot of tickets issued, or?
25 to 30-ish, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good to, okay, so,
Yeah,
It's very good.
that's a,
Since
I-
the captain maintains the records on the summers, is, you know.
so about 30 people were ticketed for the snowstorm this
That should
past week.
happen in a snowstorm.
yeah. And in addition to that, I did see on Facebook some specific maybe
Correct, people-
streets. I know of one street where 2 summonses were issued, which was one of the persons that asked, hey, you know, are these cars parked on my street overnight? There was 2 summonses issued.
I guess somebody asked me, somebody didn't know that, I can't believe this, I've lived here for 22 years, and I knew you can't park on the street, but somebody said they didn't even know we could park on the streets, because every other town has it posted, so can we maybe, in our community relations, issue the rules of no overnight parking and what to do in a snowstorm, just as a, you know, like a public service announcement, you know, just,
It used to be on our website.
okay. Maybe we could just send it out, or, you know.
I thought we had all the major entrances to town also.
There's signs coming in and out of town.
Are there signs everywhere?
Yeah.
When you enter and exit, then they're past that.
There's none on Ridge.
not a lot. We talked about this.
We don't,
Well, no
Another reason for
parking.
next,
what's that?
another reason for
Another good reason for next, because you're gonna tell everybody to get off the street. That's
Right.
exactly what it is, yeah.
I told you, go to Maywood.
Yeah, they all
Put that thing out, no overnight parking, through the snow.
But I just, you know, I had somebody tell me that they didn't know they couldn't park overnight, and I'm like, where do you really live in, so.
Ignorance is not an excuse.
Yeah, so maybe we just, you know, just as a community, you know, so,
Yeah.
just put it out.
Just a reminder
Maybe we-
someplace.
Or maybe we can put it up on the board.
e-board,
Maybe
yeah.
on the e-board, just as, maybe we can come up something. to
Yeah,
put
the
on.
e-board's probably gonna.
Yeah, just
we
we
can,
put it-
Yeah.
we can put it on the police Twitter account, and I can put
I'm not trying to make a big,
Like a
but
fresh
people
link,
like, people
maybe-
like, oh, people didn't get tickets. I said, I'm sure they got tickets, and I'm glad you were able to answer that, so.
One of the things you might want to do is the next citizen that goes out, just reiterate the ordinance.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's what I did.
Overnight parking, 2
I told
a.m.
them,
to 5 a.m.
2 AM to 5 AM, no
Gotta
parking.
call us.
We can put a fresh link on the website.
Yeah.
I know recently we added the E360, which is the municipal code that's on the town's website. We added another button that out on the police website, so if we can just direct people to that, then they can, sometimes we'll get emails when people question parking ordinances, hey, I live on this street, and then I answer their question, and then I give them a direct link to the E360 so they can read it. So I think that's, like, if people have questions about town ordinances, that E360 is very user-friendly. It's search engines, and it's.
But I think we just put out a, you know, maybe we just get it on the bulletin
On the
board
bulletin
saying, you know,
board.
during snow emergencies, no parking on any
I'll
street.
talk to
and-
Bernadette tomorrow.
Yeah, if we can, it's just,
Noted.
Chief, did you want us to address a few other accounts
TV
of that
during a snowstorm.
aren't, you know, like maintenance and things like that?
I got this for me. It's
If you can tell us the account numbers so we can just jump to the proper page, maybe?
801-26-315-1, 001.
801,
801-26-315-001. Police vehicle tires.
It is page 41.
Police vehicle tires,
Yes.
I put in for 6,500.
Police vehicle tires, yes, 801, 26,315, transfers included appropriation. We spent $5,400 last year. Okay. So everybody, 6,500 was requested, 6,500 was recommended. Is everybody okay with that?
What was spent last year?
5444.
It's been going up every year.
I mean,
Tires-
tires.
Tires have been going up in price.
Tires get a nail in them, it's a police car, I can't put plugs in them. And that's an unfortunate
Tire
part.
room is a little low right now, right, Mike? Or-
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have that many left.
I'm fine.
Everybody okay with that? So 315,001, everybody's okay with that?
Then
What's next, Chief?
004,
Police vehicle equipment and repairs, 4,000 was requested, 4,000 was recommended. We spent about $1,900 last year. Is everybody okay with the 4,000 appropriation?
I guess,
basically, as the cars get older, the costs go up.
And it has been,
I mean-
part of the older fleet the last couple
Yeah,
of
few of
years.
them are out of
Well, we
warranty.
keep these cars, we gotta maintain them. So-
And if we do end up farming this out somewhere else, that money's gotta come from somewhere.
Yeah, the OS means outside, because then further down, there's one for inside that we do within DMF.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do the new cars offset this at all? The two new ones you're getting?
I get, the new
I would
cars
think
are
so.
3 years,
No repairs.
36,000 miles on the, the warranty, but
That goes
usually
quick.
within about 14 months, we're at 35, we're over the 36,000 mile mark.
Take a while.
And
Or-
the new cars won't come in until the end of the year, so
So
even
usually,
4,000 for this
between
year.
14 and 18 months, those cars are over the warranty
Right.
period. I can pull a few favors in, with the
Is everybody
dealers.
okay with 315,004 at 4,000, or any recommendations? Okay, what's next, Chief?
Inside repairs, that's 007.
Page 42. Police equipment parts, 500 was requested, 500 was recommended. For some reason, in 2017, nothing was funded for this item. and-
Actually, if you go over to 010 instead, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yes. So is there,
That's for inside repairs.
well, I'm looking at equipment, oh, that's equipment parts for inside
Yeah.
repairs, okay. So moving down further, 80126315010, 4,000 was requested, 4,000 was recommended. We spent about 3,000 this, in 2017.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
all, like for brakes, oil filters, oil,
Is everybody okay
air
with that?
cleaners, et cetera, all the miscellaneous parts that, the mechanic would.
And I guess a 007 would be the physical parts to do that work, Chief? Is that what that is? Police equipment parts for inside repairs, 500 and 500?
That would be for my generators, the little handheld generators I have to have lights on them,
Okay,
in case they need any parts.
so
There's
that's,
one- Actually, there's one that's over there that's broken that Ronnie fixed, but
So
So-
can't we make it, 4,500, one account, and get rid of that other one? Because nothing's happening in that
yeah.
one. Just move it down.
so delete 007 and make it 4,500 in the one, is that okay with everybody?
Maybe I have to try and
What are you
track.
deleting?
We're deleting 315007,
Nothing's happening, so just move it down.
page 42 at the very top.
page 42 at the top.
We're getting rid of that.
And we're moving the 500 into 315010, Mr. Cassia.
So that's 4,500.
What happened to the sign that we got last year with the, supposed to tell people?
You're talking about the speed trail message?
Yeah.
It's here.
It's here.
It's here. It's gonna, in the springtime, it's gonna be going out.
It doesn't go out in the wintertime for obvious reasons.
But it's in the parking lot.
It's in the parking
Let's see.
lot, it's being charged up.
Did we cover it? We used to, it was uncovered.
We used to have a tarp for that, that's all rotted away. So, it's made to be, well,
You're better off not covering it.
You get moisture build up in there and
They
everything.
recommended it
It's okay.
not be covered.
Yeah, by covering it, you're gonna get water moisture underneath it, it's gonna rust it, and so,
The other one, if you look at it, it's all rusted out.
yeah, because you probably had a tarp on, yeah. so.
It just,
It's better off just leaving it, let the sun bake it during the day, and it's... What's next, chief?
That's it.
That's it.
Have the traffic lights made a difference, the blinking ones, Captain?
Yeah,
Little
it's
bit?
anything that.
I mean, I know still people go through and everything, but, you know, it's just.
That
Yeah,
should be
Van
covered.
Emmer.
You can't put any more of those up right now, we just kind of got that in.
Yeah, I know.
Because the engineer, the former county engineer sent a message out for that. Yeah, anything that draws motorists' attention to the fact that they have to stop there is good.
Okay.
But you can't go overboard, you don't want to paint the entire road.
No, I mean, you know, by accidents, I mean, of course.
Yeah, no, I think it's made a
Lesson.
difference, definitely has.
Quite noticeable.
There's a plan apparently to pave Washington, but if that doesn't happen, or even if it does, not Armatech,
Road grip.
Oh, endurable. Endurable.
is that,
That'll go back on this spring, like late May, June. No, but my understanding is, they're not gonna put endurable in that if they're gonna repaint it.
understood?
They'll go on after that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And the county, Billy Thies, is very aware of the situation, and he has not forgotten.
Okay.
And he'll be on top of it.
So the only other thing I would ask is, I think we ticked off a bunch of these items on the list from the PBA, the letter dated 4/5. But if we can get just a response that it's been closed, or if it's still open, so, and we know where it's covered, because we know that the front doors are a problem.
I know Marianne had gotten quotes for the front
Yes.
door, she's working on
Trying
it.
to,
so.
yeah. Not
We
many
actually
people want
looked
to
at
quote
those,
on it.
We looked at those quotes and kind of decided what door might.
Marion was
function
supposed to
the
get
best.
some other quotes in addition to the ones that she got.
Yeah.
There's a mention of a light box. I mean, I don't, you know, these may be,
Well, the light box would have been if there's, power failure. But right now, we're black for about 10 seconds and the wall lights pick up.
I think we kind of all agreed that we would prefer a more solid door without the light box, right? Just a, good front door kind of thing.
No, this is a different.
Emergency
this is
light,
on the
emergency
letter.
light.
This is an emergency flashlight at the dispatch.
Oh, okay.
so, just, again, I think, just sitting here, Mr. Calamari went through and ticked off some of the ones, but if we could just understand if there's anything that hasn't been covered on this, and if there's anything new that, we haven't covered in our discussion that may be part of facilities that should be captured in that discussion, just so we're, everyone's on the same page in terms of,
In regards to the letter, I would like to add maybe 1 or 2 more cameras to the building. But even that's just, one outside that covers the back door, and then one underneath the overhang by the front door. Even though I got one sitting on the pole out there, it's a wide angle lens and you can't really see much with it. So if you put one under the overhang by the front door, it shoots down this way. Then one on that pole, it shoots the back door.
The library. This
I mean,
is like a big future.
The hardware's there, all they gotta do is run the wires down.
So this
are they expensive?
That's not.
I would have to call the guy from USA Security. He's gotta come in and fix the, he's gotta come in and fix the stuff out here that the other company broke.
You and I will
It's
talk.
something we need to add.
EMF.
Huh?
Director was anything
No.
about.
When they did the drainage project.
The guy forgot to use the shovel and,
The runners,
We have 3 runners.
hit it with a backhoe.
Maintenance guy.
There was a little question whether it was marked or not marked, and
Have your guy.
So it,
So I will contact the gentleman from USA to give me a quote on it.
and then we could just roll it into this, depending on how big it is.
I don't foresee it being that much.
Captain, on that light by Pascack and Washington, the one in the island, we have those poles to protect it, but I think the chief mentioned, we don't have any poles protecting that box itself that's on the Seasons property. Is that something we could look into? I mean, who knows when the intersection will get done, but I just realized if they do have an accident, they smack that, then we're really done, right? I don't
We
know.
have something in the budget for temporary traffic devices.
That would come under, that's probably under the
I mean, there's ordinance.
That would be an emergency, that would be, if the signal goes, we're gonna have to rent temporary stanchions, that come beyond the trailers, and that would be an
Well, we
emergency
can pull it from the
appropriation.
ordinances that are old, but I'm just. I
Yeah,
just
but
think
let's-
we're asking
what
something
we
to
do
protect
do
it, maybe in case something tried to
No, I'm just
approach
saying,
it? Oh,
if we're gonna redo it, we don't know when it's gonna get done.
Mhm.
Is it worth spending? It's not cheap to put
No.
protective devices,
all right.
dig a couple holes, throw cement and pipe in there. That's not gonna be cheap. That's $10,000 easy.
Let's all hope Mr. Tedesco stated
Will
the
come
county
through.
address
Yep.
includes our signal next week, and we'll go from there.
Only hope.
Can only hope.
Anything else,
gentlemen.
Chief, that we didn't cover, like a wish list, so Nixel?
Nixle. I'll look into that. I will contact some of the other chiefs that have it in their department, see what they're paying for it.
And any other items that might be on the wish list?
There's some capital improvement stuff in there, but I need Sergeant Pecor, and that has to be discussed in closed session.
I guess when Sergeant Pecora comes back, we'll discuss that and the other two issues.
Yeah, that's
and
got,
we'll-
yeah,
That's fine.
that's all in regards to, you know.
That's fine.
It's gotta be closed session.
All right, well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Thank you.
pleasure to have you here.
All I want to say is that I've been chief for 3.5 years now, and I think I'm the first chief that I can ever remember being asked a question. And I want to thank you all for it.
Okay, well, that's good.
Well, thanks for coming and
Thank
providing
you,
us with
Chief.
the answers.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've demystified the budget process, thank you.
Yes.
Gentlemen,
And demystify
when do
it
we
for
want to
us,
meet
too.
next on the budget? Do we want to set a date, Mr. Bruno? I know it's getting late.
Got 30 minutes if you still want to go back to before the police department.
I am spent.
You spent? Yeah.
We can, I was going to ask for the next budget meeting and a motion to adjourn if it was okay with everyone. Thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
Is that okay?
See you guys.
All right.
Good night,
Good
gentlemen.
night.
Yeah, what date you want to do?
What do we got? I know this Saturday is no good for a lot, right? I think Saturday's no.
I think this Saturday, a few people said that
Correct.
that was an issue.
So we'll go into the week of the 26th. Do we want to get together on Saturday, the 3rd of March, and try to finalize this as much as we can?
I don't think I'm here the 3rd, but that's fine.
Do we want to, any day before, any day before
You guys
that?
can go through it.
Mr.
What
Bruno?
about, what
unless
about
you
next
do-
Monday night? Are you around next Monday night?
Yeah. What date is that?
Monday?
Monday is the 26th.
Yeah, that's fine. Mike?
So what do you-
I'm okay with Monday the 26th.
No, that back to the 26th.
Would we, so, I mean, I thought that was a
That's
good
okay.
discussion.
Yes.
Uh,
We still need to go into close with them to finish
Yes.
it, yes.
But the next biggest budget, I would imagine, is the TMF and/or the fire department. So
Correct.
would,
We have one of them here next Monday night?
you think?
Maybe have the fire department here next Monday night?
Don't they usually have a meeting on Mondays?
They meet Mondays.
I think, it sounds familiar.
26th is,
Yeah.
26,
Might be-
yeah, 26th
might
is
be
okay
better
for,
to
26th is okay for WCTV, so that's good for us also.
So maybe we can have DMF the 26th, and then if we're going to do the following Saturday, ask the fire.
Okay, to be here on the 3rd?
Yeah.
All right, so the 26th
Write that down.
at 7:30 PM here.
7:30, you want to do 7, what works?
I have class, so I can't,
At
So-
7:30?
if everybody's okay with 7:30?
7:30 is fine with me.
I will advertise for that then.
And then also, we want to advertise for the 3rd also, the Saturday, at 8 AM. Is that everybody okay? Or is that too early?
I can't be here the 8th, I will check.
No,
with
the 3rd,
my
the
teacher.
3rd, Sue.
I know, I
Oh.
can't be here, I have a pre-K now.
Oh, okay.
But I'll ask Cornelia and see if she can cover.
Can you see if Cornelia can cover the 3rd?
What's going on?
No, we set
Helping
nice
other
precedents
couples.
for the other kids.
Ah!
There's something, you know.
All right,
All
so
your pearls of wisdom on marriage?
February 26th at 7:30 will be our next budget meeting. Motion to adjourn, gentlemen?
Well, what time on the 3rd?
The 3rd will
8
be
a.m. you said?
8 or 9. Do you want to make it 9?
9 works a little better for
Nine-
me
nine-
also, because...
3rd at 9 AM?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
9, please.
that's fine.
Okay.
9 AM on the 3rd?
And so DMF will come the 26th and
And
fire on the 3rd? Okay.
Is that okay with everybody, John?
Sounds like.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion? I can't.
Second?
Mr. Bruno?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.